This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. Rich is already, he's already in rare form. This man wasn't that like this on the stream. Once I press record, he wants to pull out this guitar. He's already ready. So, Rich, the floor is yours. I'm getting out the way. I'm moving out the way. I'm getting out the way.
What's up, y'all? Y'all know what it is. We getting right to it. So actually, before we do that, I actually ended up with some mainstream media attention this week. So shouts out to my man Phil Lindsay, the Grapsity podcast, also a writer for Bleacher Report. He ended up writing a story on the AEW album that has been released. I don't think anyone's actually got their physical copies yet, but anyone that did order them, they should be on the way. He wrote a column basically, talking about the whole background of the project. He got quotes for everyone. He had reached out to me, I want to say maybe like a week ago, and I gave him like some quotes and all that. And shout out to Phil. He showed a lot of love. Like he put like one of the behind the beat videos that were up, square in the middle of the column, like with the big quote, plug One Nation Radio in it. So shout out to him. Like that was a big look. And I kind of marked out when I saw, I was like, man, I got like a big like section on a Bleacher Report thing. So I was pretty happy about that. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out.
Yeah, man. That was really cool. Like all throughout the day, you were sending me, some of the feedback. Like there are people that like we haven't really talked to in a minute. They were like, congratulating you. So that was really cool. Like I saw Sandy, and I was like, we rarely hear or see from Sandy, and Sandy was like, oh, that's what's up. So that was really cool. So back to the lecture at hand.
Yeah, let's get to it. It is time to open up the pack. Because there was one show that was telling the world, Craig, about what was going on with Cody Rhodes, as far as character-wise. I didn't think either of us figured it would come to this in business terms, because we figured, nothing was going to happen. But it is time for the pack to go up, because apparently Cody Rhodes has worked himself into a shoot. The fake stuff has turned real. There was no story. There was no genius behind this last 7 months or whatever it was back since Double or Nothing. Cody Rhodes is out of AEW. I remember back in September, there was someone that said, man, this guy's broken. There's a problem. There's actually a YouTube clip, The Problem with Cody Rhodes. You can look it up right now. In that, I was like, man, if it keeps going like this for him and it just stays so toxic, I'm really concerned that he could be out of AEW sooner than than we think. Little did I know, 4 or 5 months later, we'd be sitting here ready to put him in the pack of all packs. There's a lot to this story, man. Like, where do you want to begin with this?
I guess for me, it's where I think for me, it's, there's 2 parts. There's multiple parts, but I think where you start is, how in the world did we go from where Cody, his stature in the company, his stature in Turner network properties, to he's presumably heading back to WWE. It's going to be a slow churn of information coming out when we've already, between Wade Keller and Dave Meltzer and Just Barrasso, there's already stuff in Sean Ross Sapp, of course, there's already stuff about slow leaks of what possibly could be the reason, or maybe there's like so many reasons that like this week is this time to mention this factor of it, but like it just seemed like in a way that matched what was happening on screen behind the scenes. There was less of a place for Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes seemed more like a luxury act than he was an essential act, which you can absolutely not have said about Cody 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. While he was still a top star in the company, it just felt like the game was moving further and further away from him. And whether that was him losing creative or EVP booking privileges, much like the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega did, which pretty much had happened right after that terrible end of 2019 episode of Dynamite. Yeah. But it just seemed like for every awesome thing he'd do, it seemed like there were just these odd things that were happening. And as the show seemingly, for me, became more like an autopilot of competence, it seemed like you see some of the more meandering or head-scratching things involving Cody and Brandy. And I don't know necessarily what's going on. In the part where he would take these breaks to go and leave and, do whatever, fill whatever responsibility he had for whatever TV shows he was doing, it just felt like he's coming, he's going, he's coming, he's going, and like he did so much stuff earlier in his run that it was like, what's left now? Unless you're going to, go ahead.
Remember the lightning speed that he blew through all these like angles with at the beginning.
Yeah. And there's so much talent in it, or as entered AEW, that like it could have been replenished, like for say what you want, but like there was with Adam Cole there, with him not doing a Moxley thing yet, with Keith Lee coming in, there was plenty of stuff for him to do. There's always they got so many wrestlers, there's years worth of stuff for everybody to do. But the clear, I think for AEW, like everybody has their ideas of like when is a line into saying that like this is a new era, but like somewhere around the time CM Punk and All Out, or CM Punk shows up in United Center and Daniel Bryan shows up at All Out and along with Adam Cole, like this series is completely different from the AEW that Cody was at his best at. And then you get to the behind the scenes stuff where his contract's up. He had 1 year he had a 1 year option left. They reached the renegotiating table, and there was this, and people have speculated and reported different things, but like, so I don't know what's real. I don't know what is to be believed at this point, but clearly there are part on numbers. So from there, you fast forward to he's gone now.
Then you think it's like, why were they apart on numbers? And one would presume that it would be like, well, let's look at your recent performance. Like, so if you are a big time Cody Rhodes fan, and this may be difficult for you to like hear the rest of this segment, right? Because when I look at Cody past Full Gear 2020, he was a complete lost entity.
That's when he dropped the belt to Darby, right?
Yes, he was a complete loss and its entity. He couldn't be TNT champion forever. The whole deal with him not challenging for the title, I'm going to reveal to you guys what it was. And I've talked about it for months, but now that we have his career completely wrapped up like a mummy in AEW.
For this run anyway, yeah.
Him not being the champion was his gimmick for AEW. This wasn't something where it was like, oh, the belt was on the table and he decided to be so unselfish, that he would, work with everyone else. No, the title wasn't meant for him. We've heard TK talk about his first 4 champions. He knew those were in the book. So Cody needed something. His whole thing was, okay, I'll just never challenge for the title then. But in doing that, we couldn't put him near anywhere near the top 6 because, as James would bring up, over the years, he would have to lose to everyone that's there, right? So that kind of forced him into a lower role. So now he's working with, people that are on the rise and all that, right? And I think he had mixed results with that, to be generous. You can point at Darby Allin as a guy for him. You can point at Sammy, even though, Sammy unhooked a belt to beat him. He didn't pin his shoulders or anything. But you start looking at Cody Rhodes' match log, and I just have questions like, why didn't he ever want to work with Moxley, with Hangman at some point? I can't, I was telling James in the chat the other day, I was like, we got the plan that he was never a part of. I can't just dismiss it as stupidity on Cody's part because he wasn't going to win it anyway. Like, it wasn't like it was the 1970s and people were in the NBA and they were just not shooting threes. There was no 3-point line in effect for them to shoot from. And I think it's like really one of the biggest miscalculations ever if it was a case of him just wanting to do something to juice that one title shot that he had. Like, it's like, why would you like completely handicap yourself like this? And the reason why is because he was never going to get a shot. So he might as well handicap the public marketing of this whole thing was, I will never challenge for the title, to gain whatever he could out of that, to gain that, hey, I'm unselfish and all this other stuff. Like, if I was another top guy in AEW, I would be fucking furious. Like, if I was Mox, I would have walked up to him and be like, so you don't want to put me over? That's what it sounds like. And this whole thing where he sequestered himself in the Codyverse, month after month, after angle would die, and building after building would just die and boo him out of the arena, from New York to Chicago to Atlanta to anywhere they showed up, Atlanta being his hometown. It would just be a disaster. And that goes from like him to Brandy too. It would just like feel like this part of the show that it was just like, well, what is this? Why is Arn Anderson in the ring? It would be really difficult. Like, if I was a Cody Rhodes fan, I would find like great trouble explaining this. There was no Homelander gimmick. Everybody that told me, oh, this is Homelander and all this stuff. No, he came out there dressed like a slave master for months. Like, and it just like, he did himself in with that one promo and it only got worse. And then he's wrestling all these people and it's just not hitting the same. He becomes stale overnight. And when he goes back to the bargaining table with TK, he's asking him, hey, since you done took this booking power from me, I mean, can I be paid like, one of these top people? And TK probably looked at him and was like, no, why would I do that? Why would I pay you like CM Punk? At this rate, I can't use you on top. You've bombed the last 7 months, like, creatively. I think his numbers and all that were fine. Like, I didn't think he was like,
yeah, his numbers always, he was, regardless of how bad it ever got, he was always, people still treated him like a top star in the company. And like, I still view him as a top star in the company too. Well, not now anymore because he's not with the company anymore, but I always the whole time I was like, why is he, that's why I kept harping on it over and over and over. Why is he not mixing up with actual top guys when he really is a top guy? It made no sense to me. It was like, well, how are you going to fit him onto the card when, like, how stacked these cards are now for pay-per-views? Like, where are we going to put him now? If he's not going to be out, like, no, we don't have time for you versus, I don't know, Max Caster. would be somebody bigger than Max has. Be my point. Like, we have no time for these. We don't have any time for these vanity things for you to do now, just because you're a top star. Like, either face somebody that people will actually care to see, to be like the headline, be like the third or fourth biggest match on the card, or what are we even doing here? And
it's like he had no interest in facing those people, and that just leads me to question why. Like, it feels like you didn't want to like do business with them, or they didn't want to wrestle you. There was never a match with the Elite with Kenny versus Cody. I didn't want to see that match or anything, but you have to ask why it didn't happen.
Right, especially when like they're 1-1 against each other career-wise.
Right, and they've drew against each other.
Yeah.
So how
like,
do you
how people talk about like, if not for the Tokyo Dome Jericho Kenny Omega match, there is no AEW. Mm-hmm. There's a great argument like that. Along with that, like some of the other matches that are like crucial for AEW to exist is that series between Kenny Omega and Cody. So it's like it made no sense not to do a third one.
Yeah, and I think it was like I said, this whole thing, like as far as him being like the star raider, I think or the star creator, I think it's a bit overblown. I think the suits fooled a lot of people when it came to people's perception of who was really in charge of what, who was responsible for what, who was the face of what, and I think maybe the political masterminds in this thing were the guys in the shorts and the tank tops rather than the dude in the suit. So,
well, maybe, but maybe Cody was just so like made such a poor mistake and such a poor miscalculation. Like, I look at this stuff and I see what's happening with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and Jericho and Cody. I'm like, I don't think, Jericho's been cycled down clearly the last year. Right? Or since the summer. But you don't see him, like, he's about to go to WWE again. And I'm not saying that's some big slight that, oh my God, you finna go and make millions of dollars per year. What a loser. No. Like, Cody, like, there is no loser in this particularly. But it is weird that, like, this was the dude that was at the forefront of all of this rah-rah from the AEW side of it, sticking up for the side of the war that was coming on from WWE putting NXT on USA Network on Entertain's time slot. And to go from that, where Cody's breaking thrones and he's pulling out golden shovels and, and he's making all these jabs at Triple H and he's cutting the promos about like, this is the land of opportunity. This is the Ellis Island of professional wrestling. And
a lot of his stuff is going to look funny in the light when you review it.
And now it's like, oh, so you're going back. You're going back from the place you left. Okay. So much for Ellis Island. So for me, like, it's just really strange. And, like, Rich, you've talked about this over the years that, like, you can't wait for, like, the 2010s era of like, the diva / women's revolution shoot interviews.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot wait for if and when there is a AEW EVP edition of shoot interviews, because like we all are hearing this stuff about like, well, maybe he wanted more money, or he wanted as much money, more money than Danielson and Punk, and like that's preposterous. Like, no disrespect to Cody, but it's like that price is like not where you're at. Like, that affects his whole entire like pay scale, right? Like, nah, go to WWE and get that. I'm sure they'll give you it, but or to talk about like the Brandy stuff and how there are people that don't like Brandy, or there are enough people that don't like Brandy, or it ends up making people's reporting about it, and it's like, okay, sure, like, but I mean, it's pro wrestling. Like, you don't get along with everybody.
Everybody ain't gonna like everybody.
Yeah, it is what it is.
And the Kenny Omega Cody relationship is always, something I think that comes into focus with them not working to each other. We heard the Observer this week. Meltzer had a pretty like good column like looking into all this, and he mentioned that Kenny Omega and Cody didn't really speak to each other. And this is something that Kenny verified in his interview, aside from, when they did business. And then, that's Dave's speak. And then when you think about it, hold on, they've never done business together, like in AEW. And, as far as like working a program, doing a match, doing an angle, like they were far apart from each other the whole time. So that leads me to think there is no relationship. And, that Kenny Omega interview, I think it was quite telling, the way he described Cody. And it felt, when we had a conversation with Floyd, and he said it was a skillful political burial of Cody. And I 100% agree.
I mean, I guess, sure.
Just like I feel like Cody was taking a shot at Kenny when in his goodbye letter he was writing Kenneth Omega.
Right.
Like Kenny's
that's not his real name.
It's not his real name.
His name
exactly.
is Tyson, or Tyson something.
Tyson Smith.
Smith. That's right. His name's real name. Like, I mean, that's almost like calling. That's almost like when Walter was calling Pete Dunne Peter. It's like, what?
Right.
Like they ain't gotta like each other. Like, this isn't like the 2008 Celtics where we're wondering how come, we're me and Rich today, like, he sent me their last night at the All-Star game for the 75th anniversary of the All-Star, of all the All-Stars coming in, or 75 greatest NBA players all coming together, and they got their Navy Blazers on, and like, he showed me like, that, as Ray Allen gets his name called, he walks up the stage, like, he dabs at LeBron, who he won the 2013 title with, but, like, KG, like, completely ignores him, and then, like, people are like, damn, man, like, you ain't gonna let this go? Like, y'all were teammates for 5 years, like, you're one of the, you're one of the, in our lifetimes, like, one of the, teams that are most known for how close they were at the time. We get it, but, like, y'all were together for 5 years, let bygones be bygones, and then, like, Rich sent me a picture of him, Ray, and of KG Ray and Paul Pierce together, like, backstage. So it's like, maybe, like, KG is, like, warmed up to him, and, like, so, like, I get that people wanted to know about, like, the familiar bond, or the close bonds of people that seem like they're tight-knit or whatever else. Like, that's the reason why, like, people went off on Seth in 2019 when he said that stupid stuff about Moxley. So,
right. And the Elite,
so yeah, I get
like,
that.
in itself, like, this is a sad day in the history in that sense, because, like, the Elite, I feel like it's the greatest wrestling faction ever, right? When you look at the combination of, like, Kenny, the Bucks, Cody, Hangman, like, they changed the business. They changed how wrestling works. And then, like, you remove Cody out of that. You remove him, like, in their story, like the EVP. Like, they can't ever, like, tell any stories surrounding that, until they're either back together or whatever, like, I think that's a big loss for, that's an era that ended kind of without really them maximizing what it could have been in a way.
Well, I don't think anybody was, like, given what we've seen on the TV and seeing, like, they had this, like, and I said this to you jokingly, like, they had this, like, ice ribbon, like, freeze out between, like, Sakasha Fujimoto, like, their ace, and, like, and, like, Risa Sera, where, like, Risa Sera's like, yeah, how come Risa Sera's, like, one of the top 5? How come she's never, in any matches with Tsukasa? Is like, oh, they have beef, and Tsukasa's like, nah, I'm never wrestling her again. I don't give a fuck if we out here, like, we don't draw on a cork and all. We don't care.
Right.
Like, Kenny Omega and Cody and the Young Bucks, like, basically, like, after once the pandemic started, and they did that one promo, and they did that promo where another part where, like, Cody is, needling Omega. It's talking about, like,
this 1A and all this 1B star shit. And it's like, this is a classic story.
While Omega's just sitting there, like, not saying shit at all. He's just, like, he's trying to play cool, but, like, you're bringing up backstage shit to see, like, so yeah, I can see why, from the Omega perspective, now that, like, he's gone and he left us,
might as well give him a little kick on the way out.
Like, you've been needling me you've been needling me at different times. Like, I don't think Kenny was a champion at that point in time, but he's about to be champion, and he's like,
calling him the ace belt.
He's calling himself, he's telling Darby, I'm the ace and stuff. It's like, what are you doing? So yeah, like, that's a thing. That's a real thing.
Okay,
like,
that's a story as old as time.
That's the thing that's really going to be the sticking point of, like, people will really want to know over the years, like, why did they not like each other? What was the falling out? They their different ideas of what pro wrestling is and what they want to portray in AEW and like how it turned out. And like ultimately you look at it and it's like politically it looks like Cody lost favor.
Yeah.
And he's leaving to try to, because this isn't what he wants to do anymore. And like, look, this is the beauty of AEW existing. If you don't like your reality, you can go change it in the other place.
Yeah, this is what we asked for, like as fans, like for the alternative, like, and this day was always going to come. I never knew it would be Cody that would leave,
right?
But back to what I was saying, like with Cody and Kenny, like this is a story as old. This is a story as old as time. There's one guy that thinks he's better than the other one. The other one, like, huh? Like it's the same, like imagine you're Kenny Omega, right?
Moss.
Right.
It's already Moss.
Stupid. But I would say, no, I'm not going to bury Cody that much more.
No. Look, that's a lot of respect to say that Cody is Terrell Owens.
That's what I was saying. I was like, I don't think he's like T.O.
No, but like, I remember, like,
imagine you're Kenny Omega and you're winning Match of the Year, Wrestler of the Year.
That's what I'm getting
Flair
at. That's
all this shit. And then you hear people are like, we're comparing this guy to you?
That's where I'm getting at.
Like,
that's where I'm getting at with the T.O. Randy Moss thing. Randy Moss comes in the league 2 years after T.O. Came in. And T.O.'s like, he's behind Jerry Rice. He's the second or third guy behind J.J. Stokes and Jerry Rice. He drops that one ball in that playoff game, makes that catch against the Niners, and cries tears, becomes a star that night, right? But on the other side, like, there's Randy Moss's rookie year is sensational. And we're like, yo, is this nigga Jordan playing wide receiver? And, like, people start making that space. And then T.O. slowly but surely climbs up and gets to a spot where, like, I can make a name for myself by comparing myself to Randy Moss the whole time. So the first time they ever have a game against each other when they're both actually, like, on some type of equal footing as seen as similar stars, Randy Moss goes out there and scores 3 touchdowns in a game. And then T.O.'s on the sideline blowing up on his offensive coordinator because he wasn't able to showcase what Randy Moss showcased. And it's like that's kind of what we're talking about here. Like, they're both top stars. One is clearly better at this thing from the perspective of what the fans actually want, or what brought most people to the dance. And that's fine. Not everybody has the same set of skills. Like, I wouldn't want Cody to try to come out here and try to match of the years, doing what Ospreay or Ibushi does, right? But it's different flavors, and like Cody was an essential part of the variety of AEW, but it seemed like over time that changed, and the billionaire who was out here watching ECW didn't want that shit no more.
Yeah, like we talked about him exhausting himself, exhausting the angles. You would think it would fix itself if he turns heel. He never wants to turn heel.
That's the problem.
I think, what do heels do at the end of the day? They lose eventually. And I don't think Cody necessarily had a problem losing, but if it was a place where he would lose a match, he needed to have something to
what's in it for him to transition,
what's in it for him to lose, right? So like it's not, I don't think he would have seen anything out of losing to a John Moxley, for example. If he loses to a Darby Allin, he can say, oh, I made this person, like, I did this thing, there's something in it for me. But him not working with those other top people is a flashing alarm for me that this entire stipulation shit wasn't actually a stipulation. It was a work, like and then that work turned into a shoot when I would love to know. I would love to be a fly on the wall if Cody was like, do you think we're able to break the stipulation? Then TK looks at him like, no, we're not lying to our fans. Like, and then Cody's jaw dropping. Like, huh?
I sincerely think that Cody was trying to, and I talked to you about this the other day. I think that he was at the time, he saw that Jericho had on the previous pay-per-view became the inaugural champion. He was like, I'm the first challenger at the first pay-per-view. No one's going to buy for a second, and y'all are just going to take the belt right off of him. What am I going? And this is a hot feud. What am I going to do to get myself some juice to get people to believe? Right? And that's the magic. That's the part of the magic trick. Like, a match stands to be more hyped and all that kind of stuff when it's a person's real threat. So if I put out that stip that, like, if I lose, I can be champion again, and people will be like, damn, maybe Cody could win. And they went out there and they did that, and they probably sold like 12 more pay-per-views probably maybe two dozen off of that, and it did so much damage to him. And like they went from that they took him straight to the MJF stuff, and the MJF stuff was great. But then like after the MJF stuff, now what? Oh, we'll make a secondary title that you could say like is your own title, and like you can lie to people and say that the secondary belt is the ace belt.
Yeah, that used to drive me up the wall, like especially when Mox was going fucking nuts in 2020 with that belt. Then Kenny had it, and then he's talking this ace belt shit. And I'm like, what is this? And a lot of people bought into this shit. That's what I don't think. Like, pissed me off. Oh, I went into the Voices of Wrestling forum and just went in there after this news broke and just went in there like a bully, like just all the stuff the last couple months, all the he's a genius stuff and all this. There's a massive he turned heel already, like all that stuff. They had to feel it. They had to feel it because he never turned. There was never a flashpoint. There was never a genius. There was no story behind this. This was someone who was getting booed, didn't know what to do, didn't want to turn, didn't want to turn for reasons which one day will be explained. Which I heard was look at a couple doing things. Charity work, and I was like, dude, we know, like, come on, man, like, yeah, it's fake, right? Like no, like someone's gonna get the real story why he didn't want to turn, and I just look. It's like a goddamn algebra problem. Like, what is X? So when I solve for X, it's like, oh, you don't want to lose at the end of the day to these other top people. That's why you won't turn. Oh, okay. Because the second you turn, you obviously shoot up the card a little bit, and then you can work with all the other baby faces that are hot, like Mox, like Danielson at the time, like Page, Page, yeah, like, or all the new people that are coming in, like Adam Cole with his unit, stuff like that. You can fuck with all those guys, but no, we can't do that. Like, and I think there's a lot behind this. I would thank Cody for what he did put into the promotion. Like he did, help certify Darby for sure, and he had a run outside of WWE from 2016 to 2022 that anyone leaving WWE would dream of. Like, yeah. So like, I don't want to make it like, I don't want to go full gimmick on it and like make it like he's just the worst person that's entered the business. He annoyed me, frustrated me at times, and I always try to evaluate him fairly, like when I was speaking seriously about it. And I don't feel like I was wrong for a lot of the stuff I was saying with him. It was just like, I thought his ability was lacking compared to some of the best wrestlers in the world. Is that such a crime? Like I don't think so. But I feel like if the going to WWE part of it, he's like, all right, if I can't have this what was promised to me or whatever, I'll go there and turn my brain off for the X amount of dollars or whatever and have less pressure or whatever. But this isn't a move that he wanted to make. He wanted to be in AEW, and I don't know where it all went wrong, but well, I mean, if he's going to lose and be in the middle or have to do something, he's going to do it in WWE because he always wanted to be a top star in WWE. He wrestled like he was from WWE the whole time. So
now that's part that's more interesting to me now. It's like, all right, eventually that was the point of this. Like, people don't have to move back and forth, and like, the whole part is like the cycling part where people come back and forth, and it's a lot of people. Like, it ain't just, 50 people going from WWE to AEW, and the only one, and the Cody only be one person. Like,
hell of a trade. I'll make that trade any day.
Get rid of a max contract to get more flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like, hey, like, let's get a Westbrook and let's add a Alex Caruso.
Look. Nah, this is a classic NFL Herschel Walker style deal. We'll be like, oh, we'll give you Cody. We'll go ahead and take back all these people. So, and we'll get niggas to come out of retirement too, like CM Punk.
So, yeah, Cody Rhodes is going back to WWF or WWE, and like, he's obviously getting paid top money. And the funny thing for me is, like, I hear Alvarez and Meltzer and Keller, and they're all like, oh, they're gonna push to the top because X, Y, and Z, meaning like they finally got their own guy. They finally got one of AEW's guys. He knows all the secret he knows all the recipes, right? In theory. The strategic play of, if we bury that dude, then they'll make it less likely that they'll get anybody else that they may want, like a MJF or Wardlow, or I don't know, Sammy, somebody they would actually want as the right size, right? In the future, like as a 3-year play, it's smart to actually treat him and keep him at a certain level, right? I hear all that.
But doesn't this company shoot themselves in the foot all the time? And
that's where I was getting at. Like, this is also a company that is paying Rey Mysterio top star money, and look what the fuck he's done ever since he came back. This is also the company that is about to do title versus title with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns as a, 2012. So, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. As a 10-year, chain reaction of bad booking that dates back to when they brought Brock Lesnar back at Extreme Rules 2012, and he lost his first fucking match to John Cena. So
it's a straight line you can draw.
So if you're telling me that they will treat Cody like he's AJ Styles in his first year, could be. But if you're acting like there's no way they would just, push him a little bit and then beat him, you're out of your fucking mind.
Like, if it was me, he would be...
AJ Styles lost his first pay-per-view, or his first single stint to Jericho.
Mm.
Why? His first way to Jericho, after he came to the company in 3 months or whatever. Why? He then became the man after that. Why?
It's going to be interesting to see whatever happens.
This is a company who has a lot of their key fan base telling me that Seth Rollins is super underappreciated and is like a top star in all this, and then he just got fucking destroyed with like 4 other guys in Elimination Chamber just this weekend by Brock Lesnar, like fucking geek, who looks ass out in the winter with no coat for WrestleMania, unless he is going to wrestle Cody.
That's my match for Seth Rollins, would be Cody, and he has to stand up for WWE, but then Cody needs to fucking blow through him. That's what I would do. But
they should have a suit match.
Oh my god, good suits versus bad suits.
Yes, Cody would. It's crazy. Cody with his goofy wrestling but good suits versus Seth with his good wrestling but goofy suits. Go figure. It's like a duality.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, if you don't think they'll fuck up Cody Rhodes, I'm not saying they will, but if you think they won't, it's impossible. And they fuck up tons of people all the time.
Yeah. Look. They fucked up Roman Reigns for years and years and years and years and years.
Bro.
And they wanted to push him. They wanted to make him the star.
They just beat Bobby Lashley's ass in a match so that he could win it by the help of Roman Reigns. And in that match, he separates his shoulder, fucks up his shoulder, and then they fly him a month later, they fly him all the way to the other continent so that he can have a fake concussion so that he can then leave instead of just saying, "Hey, bruh, shoulder's fucked up." You saw him get dumped on the shoulder like half a dozen times. His shoulder's fucked up.
Incredible.
Okay, Cody, good luck, man. Wish you the best. And look, at the end of this, he can always come back.
Yeah.
I expect him to come back.
Maybe. I'm interested to see, they handled it in a very professional, front-facing manner. But like James said, the stories will continue to come out. There's a story that will continue to follow. If you guys didn't hear Kenny's Observer Radio interview, he had dropped some very, put your conspiracy, your One Nation Radio brain on, and then listen to that and tell me how that shit sounds. It's quite amazing.
He also remember when we heard that deadline, or he said he's trying to come back in February, and I remember saying to you he ain't come back in no damn February, and sure enough, we're now in February and he's still at most like at the earliest 8 weeks away. So there's that too. So see at like probably double or nothing, if that.
One would hope. He's he's in the situation next. So like his deal's up a year from now. So hopefully, we'll see how TK operates then when it's time. Because like you start thinking about these deals and all that and how they were all set up, and you figure the timing of the next TV contract. Their TV contracts at the end of 2023. Kenny's deal comes up in February 2024. Feels like there'll be a lot of fresh money available. So maybe on that end, he won again. So who knows?
Yeah, but he wrestles blow up dolls, so he has no idea what he's doing.
Correct.
All right, look, what's next?
Excuse me. Like they'll probably be in negotiation season as they are, as his contract's expiring. So yeah. So, man, who knew? Political mastermind.
Yeah. So what's next on the list? I forgot what I sent you.
So we got Dynamite, Rampage, Revolution. We got Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania 38.
Okay.
And then, of course, we got the big news over in Stardom.
Yeah. So this week in AEW. So my mind's toast right now.
This fucking show was like one of the best Dynamites that like has happened.
It's almost perfect game.
Ever.
It basically was a perfect game, except for like maybe if you're like me,
of the main event.
Unless you're like me, that's like super critical of like fuck finishes like that and interference in main event matches. Outside of that, like this was every segment was good or great.
Yeah, it was like there was like a point to be proven. It felt like AEW, they didn't run from Cody at all. They were like, Cody Rhodes was in the first dog collar match. Like we can start with that. CM Punk cuts a promo. And he ends it with like "Be My Valentine," and I know where it's going. He's got a box in the ring the whole time. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, is his promo written on that or something? Like, I was like, I didn't know.
He's like The Rock, except for a box out of his arm.
Yes, I was like, what is this? And then he cuts an excellent promo. They pull out the dog collar match. I figured that's where it was going a couple months ago, and they're gonna beat the shit out of each other, hopefully. Because, this ain't the most physical matchup in the world, MJF and CM Punk, but they're going to bleed for sure. We're going to be there. That's going to be a pretty high-profile matchup. Very excited to see it. And I thought Punk's promo was amazing. You get to see me
probably roll my eyes in person. So, I loved the promo. I was bummed when I saw it was a dog collar. Whatever. Like, I'm sure they'll have a good match. Like, they just had a match that was more than just good, but like enough with the fucking Great Hammer Valentine tributes. Like, the dude was mid. I'm sure Josh is going to hear this and he's going to argue with me about how good he was when he was in the territories or whatever else before he got to WWE or whatever else, but I don't give a fuck. Like, the dude has that one match to his name.
That's funny. Great. They always say Great Valentine used to take a while to warm up to get started, in his matches. So, because the shits would go so long and
yeah. Also, just to give y'all a heads up, I don't give a flying fuck about wrestling before 1992. To be honest with you, like I'll watch some matches, like for example, I can watch like Bret Hart and Mr. Burt from 91 SummerSlam, and be like, that's a good ass match. But like overwhelmingly, unless you're talking about like one of the best matches of its year, like I tend to watch those matches like, show me the 100th best match in like 84, I'll be like, oh, it's fine. Like it's too much. Like the wrestling, they're not working for me. They're working for my parents. I'm sorry.
So, we had Tony Schiavone backstage with Christian and Jurassic Express. Jungle Boy said he enjoys three-way matches and he's no stranger to win the Battle Royal. Kind of looks at Christian. And then, they say there's a three-way tag match. They announced some Battle Royals between this week and next week. So there are going to be two of them. Each, person that wins will be popped in that three-way match at Revolution. So the last tag battle royal they did, it was like 2 years ago, I remember, or the one on Dynamite 2 years ago, the one the Bucks won was fucking excellent. So hopefully that they go in that lane with it.
Yeah, I don't know why they're doing two of them. They should just did one and basically treat it how they do the belt or the
last two.
Where they do the MJF,
the ring.
Yeah, just like last two, make it whatever. But yeah, I mean, obviously, like looking at the card, like there's no way that it's not like Red Dragon in the Young Bucks, right?
That's what I would think it is, but I think you got to also look at Santana and Ortiz. So. I don't know.
If they get in, who would be the third team who would be the third team then?
I feel like unless you come up with another feud for the Bucks that quick, like the only other thing, I don't know. I feel like it's got to be those two. But Santana and Ortiz just got the big win over Jericho, like it pinned Jericho. We'll talk about it later in this. But yeah, I'm still I don't know. Like I'm unsure.
Well. The reason why I think you can hold off on Santana Ortiz is like, all right, so how long are Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus going to be the tag champs?
We don't know.
All right, so I think in theory, if Santana and Ortiz are going to challenge for the titles, like who would make the most sense for them to challenge? Like who would be the best opponents as champions against them besides the Young Bucks? Obviously, not saying like just from a best match standpoint. I just means like as far as like where we're going. Like it might be Red Dragon. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Like but then again, like watch it be like FTR and Santana and Ortiz and make it or something. Watch, and then like they'll do Red Dragon and Young Bucks then on the card. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, those seem like the four clear choices that can even win a slot on this.
Yeah. So,
but either way, like it's gonna be a great match because it's gonna be 6 dudes that can wrestle, or 6 teams that are gonna wrestle their ass off, or 3 teams that are gonna wrestle their ass off.
So we had Bryan Danielson and Lee Moriarty. This match was fire. Shouts out to my man True God, who they played his version of Lee Moriarty's theme from the Who We Are album out to the ring. And he, Lee Moriarty, this is the best he's looked. A lot of people have talked very highly of Lee Moriarty. I haven't been as familiar with his work. I didn't really think he went off I didn't really think he went off in the way he should have against CM Punk. Like as far as like like Lee was really talking about Lee Moriarty once the match was over. But this one was like I thought a little bit better. And like if I have one critique of him, I just think he needs to hit people harder. Like I feel like Danielson was hitting him way harder than Lee was hitting him.
I think that was the point.
Yeah. But I loved this match. Like this was awesome.
Yeah. This match was a blast. I think in regards to the Punk match, like it had its moments. It just wasn't as good. And we can start cutting the shit with this. Like Danielson's a whole nother level to CM Punk as a worker. And no, I don't think you're disagreeing with that. I think you're 100% agreeing with that. But it's just like, yeah. The match, people want to see CM Punk win and do his stuff or whatever else, and like not much has changed in his act or whatever else. So like people want to see that with him. But Danielson is like people ain't seen him do this and be a buzzsaw for a long time. So like I think that there's also that at play. And like their games more naturally mesh. Like they're both super technical wrestlers. So yeah, I thought like as you mentioned, like I love the match. I actually probably one of the few matches I'll probably try to rewatch, yeah, it was great. It was great. As Brian has done of late, like slap on the guillotine, not guillotine, slap on the triangle and then starts flexing. Yeah.
Yep. That's Moriarty's look. So, after the match, like Danielson said that he fought Moriarty because he wanted to show him a thing or two about violence.
Yes. One thing also. Get this man to Japan, please. You know he wants to do it. You see how he fucking wrestles. That dude wants to be in Japan.
Yeah.
At least for a stint.
Yeah, he's got to get sent over there somewhere. Like, send him with Eddie Kingston. Like, let them both live their dreams.
Yes.
So, then, he asked about John Moxley, and then Moxley came out, and he said he wants an answer from Moxley, and Mox came out. Mox talked about the first time that him and Danielson were in a wrestling ring together. Mox said he came up short, but he was just like Lee Moriarty. He wanted to take it to Bryan Danielson, who's the best wrestler in the world, and the whole locker room scared of Danielson, but he's excited to get a chance to face him finally. He listened to what Danielson had to say, and he's admitted that it would be awesome for him to team up. But then, the other voice thought maybe this guy is scared to face me. And this whole thing was like, he talked about the chemistry in the indie match they had, they talked about the indie match they had and Bryan Danielson coming straight off the plane, which I read about in Danielson's book. So all this stuff is like very familiar for me. He's basically said, hey, I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no, but I ain't going to team with you unless I bleed with you. So like, yeah. Very excited. That seems like that locks in Danielson and Moxley and Stone at least as a match for Revolution, but it still keeps the hope alive of like some super aggressive unit with those two. Yep.
I that'll probably be my most anticipated match of the card. Danielson and Moxley. Yeah.
So we got to keep. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say we got Keith Lee on a video promo. He said he cuts about being a face of the Revolution ladder match. He cut back. We got Wardlow against Max Caster. Caster was flying all over the ring for Wardlow in this thing. Wardlow turned up the violence on his power bombs like I had asked for. So shouts out to the big the War Dog. Wardlow ends up.
Were you about to call him the Big Low?
Yeah, the Big Low. Big Low. But so Wardlow's in, and then we can kind of fast forward here. Rampage, like Hobbs gets in, and all of a sudden you see what's coming into focus: Hoss ladder match.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Dante didn't get in because I would love to have seen him in it, but maybe he finds another way. Maybe he finds a way to backdoor his way in there. Like I don't know. We'll see what happens with wrestling lineup. But now that we have like the basis, we need some flyers.
Yeah. So we got backstage. Mercedes Martinez is with Britt Baker, Rebel, Jamie. Baker tells Mercedes, "You better not lose." And after tonight, it's undeniable. She'll be the most powerful woman in pro wrestling with the best squad. Then all of a sudden, fucking John Kreese comes in. Cobra Kai never dies. And all of a sudden, I had seen them, in some appearance before together. So Britt asked John Kreese, what happens if Martinez loses? And Cobra Kai fucking John Kreese says, you know what to do, finish her. And
he should have said sweep the leg, but he did say no mercy.
Yeah. So after that, we had Adam Page out, and he was going to say something, and then Cole interrupted. And then Cole talked about his Texas death match with Lance Archer. Cole congratulated Page on retaining the belt and listed off, all the matches that Page has had, which have been awesome. And after that, he said Page has kind of earned himself the right to call himself the world champ. But Cole said he's been world champion everywhere he's been, and then that's a shame his reign will be ending so soon. NXT's not a world title, Adam Cole, but whatever. Cole says
it was defended in Japan, so by Caleb logic, it is a world title, like 7 Stardom titles apparently.
So, Cole says that, he hasn't been around his so-called friends in months. Ask him what kind of friend is he? And, Paige says he's not perfect. And he tells Cole that he doesn't have the best record with friends either, because Cole's an asshole.
Certified fuck nigga.
Yep. Paige says he has some regrets and made some mistakes, but the more he thinks about it, Cole stepping into a ring with him is the biggest one that he's made. After that, Cole was like, yo, I know you've gotten good, but now that I'm here and you're going to be known as the other Adam, like any other promotion we've been in together. And Paige is like, man, fuck all this. I'm taking the belt, throwing the belt in the corner, undoing the cufflinks. Let's run it. Really ain't got too much time to back and forth with you and yap. But after that, Cole's like, hey man, why you so crazy? Essentially, and he gives him a handshake, a quick made the best man win. He walks out, music hits, and it's like, hold on, what's going on here? And then them goblins from Red Dragon come out, start whooping Page's ass like he stole something. The Adam Cole runs in. They give him the beat down. Whenever I think of these style beat downs, I think about like when Johnny Gargano got turned on, and then like they started fucking Ciampa up right next to him, and it was like they just didn't miss a beat. That shit was hilarious. It wasn't to that level.
He's all when Finn Balor gave him that the kick, and then they were like, "Oh no!"
Like, we still have business to tend to here. So after that, the whole Dark Order comes out. 10 starts clearing off security.
They rolled Ciampa's ass so bad.
Bro, they fucked Ciampa up. Oh my god. But 10 comes out. I think this is a solid segment. Given like, Ray Dragon that gets like Dark Order involved, Ray Dragon involved. I'm excited for the match and hope to see a little bit more.
Yeah, and also like hopefully that means we'll get like a Red Dragon versus Silver Reynolds match, which would be great. So, because they kind of need some tune-ups because like O'Reilly was gone because he just had he just had a child, so he didn't have a child, but somebody had a child with half his DNA. So, I'm with it. I thought the 10 like destroying the guards was kind of funny looking, but outside of that, it was fine.
Yeah, they set up Cole and 10 on there for Rampage. Mm-hmm. So, Tommaso Ciampa on Raw.
He's been on Raw before.
He's completely dyed his beard.
They told me to get rid of that old man look. Yeah, he was on. He was doing commentary. I think a couple weeks ago. I think it was to set up something with Miz.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, but he was on Raw. He was on Raw doing commentary like 2-3 weeks ago.
So up next, we had a match I was looking forward to. The Inner Circle explodes. Chris Jericho and Jake Hager against Santana and Ortiz and James. I have to pull the cigar out. I have to pull it out, and I have to let people know. And you know what? I'm gonna have to zoom on this one. So get your tape decks ready, like they used to say for Lloyd Banks.
Oh my god!
Never, and I mean never, in your goddamn natural life, count out Chris Jericho ever. I don't care how old he gets. I remember when in 2016 he was talking about Rudy Tooty Booty, and everybody was saying maybe he's past it then. And then what happens? He turns, figures it all out. People was trying to throw dirt on Jericho for months. They talking about how NBA, the people of NBA Twitter roasted him. Who gives a fuck what they're talking about? Because like honestly, if they haven't seen the man in 20 years, obviously he's gonna look different. He's 50 years old. So what did Jericho decide to do? He went in the gym. He trained like a madman. He basically started working on, his core and changed his diet and everything else. And he comes back to Dynamite and he is in excellent condition. He's 51 years old, I believe, and he's just going to keep being fucking Chris Jericho. So, what you may not like his politics. You may not like, what he does outside the ring, but when it comes to this business, you can never, and I mean never, write off Chris Jericho. He will always be valuable.
Okay, so
fuck. I feel like I've been holding that one in for a while.
Okay, so I wrote him off because
this shit rules.
Because it seemed like he was at a point to where he wasn't taking care of his body well enough to be able to do this at a high level anymore, and his matches had suffered. That's inarguable, right?
Right.
But a couple weeks ago, there were pictures floating around of him with just like a jacket, and I was like, he looks leaner. And people were like, well, it might just be the jacket, because like Jericho looks good in the jacket. And then he shows up last week, and like it's noticeable. Like he looked like Josh from Keepin It Strong Style's girlfriend made a joke that maybe he went and got the lipo sculpting.
Yeah.
Like Mr. Like he went to Mr. Miami and got hit, doop,
Yeah.
But you look at it, and you can look at his shoulders and his arms and and his chest. It's like, nah, he's just slim. He's just slim. So
Sam said the Rich Latta zoom, the opposite of the Rainmaker zoom. You got to zoom in on this one.
Right. So, yeah, he clearly had lost weight. Like, I mean, I wonder how much it has to do with the fact that, because, hair looked great too. So, like, maybe Jericho partook in the fight camp. I made the joke, like, fight camp Jericho.
Yeah.
But yeah,
hair looked great too.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe that's what it was. But either way, like, I wrote him off because I never thought he was going to put in that work. And I remember, and I got to eat crow on this, as Josh from Keepin It Strong Style had said months ago, like, Jericho could lose his weight. And I was like, nah, man, that man living good. He's kind of wrapping this up. But, like, there seemed to be some money available for him to get. So it seems that man has gotten himself in the shape to, come pick up that money from that slot that's available. So
also,
yeah.
You see what he did, like the second after all this news broke. What that man do on the next show? He did a clean job just to show everybody that, hey, I am available and ready to work with whoever. I'm about to make Santana a goddamn star. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, so Jericho always ahead.
So he did. I mean, he was him and Santana were great throughout the match. Jericho was in it for most of it, and then he ended up getting pinned. So Santana and that's obviously the biggest one they've had in AEW is a pin Jericho, either one of them. So that was cool.
Yeah. It was a real good match. Eddie Kingston was out there. They did like a little like pull apart with him and Jericho, and they're finally going to speak to each other this coming week. Sign me up. So after that, we had a no DQ match for Mercedes Martinez and Thunder Rosa, and goddamn, another one. Thunder Rosa is wearing the fucking Kill Bill outfit while the fucking Cobra Kai, no mercy shit here, and it's almost like Kill Brit essentially. And it's like, I'm gonna execute all your fucking henchmen to get to you. And Thunder and Mercedes, I was very happy with this match. They had one part that was a little weird with the slide down the table. It still broke at the bottom, but I don't think they hit it the way they wanted to. But
yeah,
there was a sick German suplex in the corner that I really thought was great. That Mercedes gave to Thunder Rosa.
Oh, the Daniel Bryan spider deal off the top rope. Yeah.
This whole thing, I saw people on Twitter that apparently they didn't understand this Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa storyline has literally been happening since December, and
right.
it's like, what television are you watching? Like, I don't understand. Like, if you think the announcement of Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker had no either story or build behind it, I would advise you to actually watch the promotion. I don't know.
We talked about this we talked about this for maybe 3 or 4 minutes about how depth it was and how smart it was and how when they added Mercedes and this was what 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, this was 3 weeks ago we talked about this.
Yeah,
and then we were saying we can draw the line directly to the TBS tournament.
Right. She was like, I paid you not to beat Rosa, not beat her up because I need her to drop in the standings. Yeah. Yep. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. So
there's
lots of bad accounts. I actually had went back on that. I saw it and I was like, oh, he deleted tweet. Gotcha. I was like, what are you saying, man? I don't know. It's weird. But this match ruled. Thunder ended up getting the win. Fire Thunder Driver on the chairs. Kind of.
Yeah. Fire Thunder Driver where I just land flat on my ass and your head don't come nowhere near these chairs. And I'm fine with that, but just do it from behind. When they do, who was it? Deadshot. People's heads don't hit on Deadshot when Adam Page does it because we don't see it. It's behind.
After that, Britt Baker comes out and walks up to John Kreese, who's ringside, and he basically tells her to finish her. And prior to that, Thunder Rosa has shown Mercedes Martinez respect. They were shaking each other's hands essentially, and the rest of the goons got in. And they wanted Mercedes to finish the job, essentially, but Britt gave Mercedes the pipe, and Mercedes held the pipe and hesitated with the pipe. So, what's her name? Jamie Hayter basically just lays out Mercedes, who was holding the pipe, drops the pipe, and the pipe just laying, on the ground after that, and it's a beatdown with all British unit, the doctor's office, beating the hell out of Mercedes and Rosa, and you think there's maybe going to be a tag match with Jamie Hayter and Britt, probably against Rosa and Mercedes Martinez.
Yes. Bear with me 1 second. All right, so going from the Thunder Rosa and Britt and you talking about pipes, where do you want to go from here? Like, we're getting the match. We're finally getting the match of Thunder Rosa and Britt at Revolution. But what do you think is left for this story to, as a build?
I think you got to do a tag match. Thunder Rosa and Mercedes, like them kind of showing the love to each other. This is Mexico coming together with Puerto Rico. We don't see that often, so they got to link up and fight these white women.
The funny part about it is, like, I was thinking about that when they wrestle each other the whole time.
Yes,
like,
Puerto Rico versus Mexico. Yes,
that's what I was thinking that the whole time.
Yes, so they can fight the white women, and then Thunder can pin Jamie Hayter again and do a promo segment, and then they can finally kind of tell each other how they feel about each other, and they can talk about, or Rosa can finally pull out that, I was the one that actually fucking won that match, and all you did was fucking benefit from it and everything like that, and I hold this ring and I want your ass, and everyone goes up, and we see the titles change in person.
Okay. So what was the next after that? I know there was a Malachi Black deal. Maybe not right after, but it was in between the main event.
He said he's got a new person. A lot of people thinking it's going to be Buddy Matthews. Yeah. So another good worker to come into the fold. So can't have too many of those. So think about that unit to be Black, Matthews, and Brody King. That's a nice trios unit right there.
Yeah. We got to get these trios titles off the ground.
It's time. It's time. I
mean, it's past time, but yeah, like maybe they're saving it for when Omega comes back, so you can do the Elite, Elite versus Undisputed or whatever. But or maybe not doing that specifically just for the titles, but put them all in the tournament is what I mean. Right. But yeah, it's beyond time, and Buddy, Buddy's a good ass wrestler, but if you're Tony Nese and you're like, okay, you signed me, and then you're also bringing in Buddy, it's like, well, I feel like you got to pick one. I feel like Tony Khan should have picked one or the other, but not both. Because it's redundancy. No offense, but you know what I mean? Body guys that are good ass wrestlers that lack in the conventional charisma thing and are going to be in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. I guess this is a good time to talk about the death of 205 Live, how it doesn't exist anymore.
Well, yeah. I mean, this, I made the joke that when they signed him, Buddy, that I was like, okay, so it's so I see what's happening. He is signing all of Triple H's former champions, and look, I gotta say, I love it. Sign them all. Had Leo Rush. Look, when does Phantasma and them become available? Because they're not gonna do nothing with them. So fuck it.
Yeah. Sam says, "Who is the greatest 205 Live wrestler?" There's only one answer to this, Sam. Mustafa Ali.
Yeah.
The other one is Pac, right?
It'd be the Mount Rushmore, if you will, would be Mustafa, Cedric, Pac, and then
Murphy.
probably
and Murphy.
Yeah, that's probably the four.
Murphy, Cedric, Pac, and Mustafa.
Yeah, that'd be the four, in my opinion. Yeah. Damn sure ain't Area Davari.
Right.
Look, notice they didn't sign him.
They didn't.
He showed up for one match.
I think he's worked dark again too, though.
Nice.
So no Enzo, definitely not. No Gulak.
I forgot about that.
Gulak's probably just on the outside. A lot of people like Gulak, but I don't think he ever really got the run with the belt per se. That was and then you start. I always liked Tony Nese. I thought he was great, but Yeah, so we had Jay White after cut a promo on his match about Trent Beretta, basically introducing himself and going through his highlight reel.
We gotta stop the chat. Look at the chat.
Hold on, what is it saying? I clicked on someone's name. Oops. Enzo has gotten juicy lately.
Hey man, you can't be typing that in here. No disrespect. I'm not trying to be like homophobic or whatever. I was like, no, I don't need to hear. I don't need to hear about Enzo Amore being juicy. Nah. That was funny. We want to put a stop to that right now. I barely even want to talk about Enzo, even mention him by name. He was all juicy. All right, man. Let's continue.
That's funny.
You knocked that off. I can't zoom, but you knocked that off. Go ahead, Rich.
Let that ride, okay. He said, my bad. I was making a Roy joke.
Wow. I'm messing with you. I'm not serious. I don't care. I'm just messing with you.
So up next, it was time for Pillarism. That's right. Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara. I'm always excited when the Pillars lock up. I was and this show has been like phenomenal to this point. I was like happy to see these two dudes come out there, and it's like, let's fucking go. And they go for it. Like pretty much like it was like maybe like a 20-minute match. No, maybe not that even that long. Like a 17-minute match.
Yeah,
and
like 15,
like
in the 15 range.
And like 16 and a half of those minutes was just like balls to the wall. Like, we're competing for it in and out the ring. Like we're competing, like, trying to basically like carve a spot and like, have a great TNT title match. And I think this match was put on for a reason.
Yeah, this is a great match. I think I like their pay-per-view match from, was that last year? Beginning of last year?
2 years ago.
Oh, 2 years ago. Like, I think I like that match more.
Mm-hmm.
But this match is great still. I mean, the only thing I have about it is I just hated the finish at the end. But they had to do what they had to do.
Yeah, it was.
It was very NXT. This was very Triple H NXT of this finish.
It was going at it, like just tons of creative spots all over this thing, and in the ring, out the ring, on the apron, anything. Like I will watch these guys like wrestle for years and years. These are RLPW certified guys here. These are One Nation Radio athletes, that were drafted by us. So having the vision, on our side.
Did we draft him last year?
We sure did.
Oh, yeah, with Jericho, right? We had a tag team. That's right.
We sure did.
That's right. And we lost.
Having the vision.
Third.
Unbelievable. Shouldn't have lost.
Yeah.
Don't worry. We're going to stuff the ballots next time. Like, we're gonna make sure the nation shows up to vote.
Where did Shuri finish in Observer best technical wrestler?
Or, excuse me, she finished 7th in Flair Thez.
Yeah. We'll get to that. Don't worry. Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
Observer Wars.
Don't you worry.
Yeah. Sammy ends up getting the win after the interference with Andrade. Andrade gets in after he's got the belts. Matt Hardy's attacking him. There was a funny thing that happened with Matt Hardy earlier in the night. I think it was. Oh no, it wasn't that week. It was a different week. He walked out on Private Party. Yeah, he walked out on Private Party. Mm-hmm. So something to keep an eye on.
Erratic behavior. Have you seen those dates?
About Jeff Hardy?
Those dates of Team Extreme together, like working like Northeast Wrestling and whatnot.
Warming up. You know, we call those tune-up matches.
Yeah.
Trying to take this show back on the road and draw. Yeah, man. Rampage was an awesome show too.
Fun show.
So this one was on at 7 p.m. There was, to begin the night, what opened this show? I don't remember. No. I don't remember what opened the show.
All right,
it is slipping my mind. But
great show. What started it? Don't remember. And the sad thing is, I don't remember either, and I'd write down the notes for all these fucking shows. Or not the notes for like, Dante Martin versus Powerhouse Hobbs.
Oh, okay. I
No, I'm
thought that
sorry.
was the second match.
That's second match. 10 versus Cole.
That's right. So 10 and Cole go at it. This was okay. I didn't think it was like anything great. I thought it was funny watching Adam Cole like win.
Beat up a muscle-bound man and put his face in the sand because he's bad.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that made certain people squeam, which was, to be expected. But solid win for Cole. Keeps him kind of in line, to go at Hangman.
Yeah, just a good match. Match.
After that, we get Powerhouse Hobbs, Dante Martin. As we mentioned earlier, Hobbs got the win. This was pretty good. Hobbs came out dressed like he was the fourth member of Harlem Heat, because there was Big T there as well, but there was also Midnight. He might be the fifth member of Harlem Heat. There was Midnight too. So I don't know if Midnight wore the flames as well. So I don't know, but Hobbs with the dub. Warlow, Lee, Hobbs, big dudes meet.
So like, it's funny that you mentioned like T and you mentioned Midnight. Like, you didn't mention Seth Rollins. He was out here burning it down a few years ago. That man was out here looking like a member of Harlem Heat as well. Except
you're right.
Yeah, but anyway, let's move on. So I'm surprised that Hobbs won. I thought, this was a rubber match between them. They're both 1-1. I thought that Dante was going to win this, but Hobbs just like caught him out, just pulled him out of the sky and grabbed him with a spine buster and pinned his ass. He was done. So
yeah, it was crazy. And then after that, we had a women's match. Serena Deeb had a 5-minute white girl challenge, whooped her. And then we had the main event. And that was, what was the main event of the show? It was Jay White and Trent Beretta. Jay White cut a promo and Trent cut a promo before the match. I liked Jay White's promo. I thought he sounded pretty natural. And like, it was like, I feel like after watching this promo, this match, and I'm like, man, I feel like I need to reevaluate Jay White's entire like career. Like, what would it be like
outside of the character and that bullshit that he does?
Right, that, and also like, if he was formatted for television wrestling with shorter matches, and it's like you got to get to the fucking point, he would be fucking awesome. Like,
I think for me, like I've always been of the opinion that like Jay White's great. He does shit in his matches that irritate the fuck out of me, and part of it's the point. Another part of it is, all right, come the fuck on. You've done this 40 times. But I don't know. Like, I thought his promo was fine. Like I thought that for all the talk that we get from the Pearl fan base side of it about how charismatic he is as promo, it seemed like, if I compared that promo he did in front of Mark Henry and Trent, compared it to like, I don't know, any of the 8 best promos in AEW, he completely get washed out in charisma. But yeah, like, I mean, he knew what he was saying. It sounded good, but like, it was just cause like, I don't know if he's holding back or whatever else or whatever, what have you. But yeah, like, it didn't matter. Like, he got in the ring with Trent, an all-familiar person from work, probably a half a dozen or probably like 5 dozen tags with him over the years, doing those Road 2 shows, and it killed it. They had a great match, physical match, no bullshit to be spoken of. Jay White did what he does best, was just counter wrestle. Like he, like that. I forgot how he finished into the Blade Runner, but like it was a great counter, and that's what he does.
Yeah, we were talking to a buddy of ours that had never seen Jay White, and he like, we kind of described him as like a guy like that. I don't know if I would necessarily trust him to carry like lower ranked kind of guys, but he's a great mirror for people. Like, whoever he's fighting, he can get to their level, and sometimes like whether it's through intentionally he'll hold back or whatever, like chances are like it's gonna turn out pretty good. I would like to see him continue to have more matches in AEW.
If he's doing
that,
this,
if he's doing this, and then it looks like maybe Orange Cassidy's in line for him. Like maybe they can get that as a quick ad on the Revolution card. I like that.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. just like leave that bullshit at home though. Like the second we get to like the closing stretch of a match, he starts laying on the floor and smiling because he thinks he's outsmarted his opponent because he just won't get up, and then the person doesn't sit there like an idiot, doesn't just stomp his fucking head into the mat. I'm gonna be furious. So like,
you wouldn't try that with Shuri.
Sure, he put his head through the fucking 2x4s, doing that bullshit. So, like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so we'll see. Like, he's on his best behavior right now, it seems. So, if he keeps this up,
that man came to impress. Like, he was like, "Look, this is my first real look on national television. Like, not Impact.
Not no replay, not some replay that's on Access Television.
Yes, not some shit that been taped weeks ago. Like, I know it was like taped 2 days later or whatever, but it's like a current thing that kind of matters. And then Jay White." Well, in other news, turns on Tama Tonga, and there's a split in the Bullet Club again. So I don't think Tama Tonga is officially out of the Bullet Club. So maybe they're really trying to do this, the unite across all companies thing. So we'll see how it all works.
Yeah. So I mean, Revolution. I mean, I think we kind of like talked about what's on the card so far. Is there anything that's on the card so far that we haven't talked about? Or seems is headed that way that we haven't talked about?
I think we've like kind of touched on everything, but I'm pretty excited for the card. Like it looks like it's like I'm very happy to have a ticket. So
it felt, to be honest, like the start of the year to now, like it felt like aside from this week, the week before, and like maybe like one other show. It felt like, they weren't in the gear that they were in where they were trying to turn out great television every single week. And that's fine. Obviously they're in flux because like, what do we have on Moxley? Like one of our fucking top guys is leaving. One of our top guys is out right now. But, this was like the first stretch where it felt like, or this week and last week before, it was like, okay, they're getting the ducks in order to get to the pay-per-view, finally. So, I think they're still kind of cold compared to what they were doing, in previous pay-per-views last year, but, I mean, I don't think they're going to have a CM Punk to unveil that's kind of, or a 2-month, pay-per-view, or 2-month, build to pay off in the main event, but, short of that, the card is shaped up to be like a great show, even without the highs of the bills from previous pay-per-views. But I think they'll get there.
Yes, sir. I'd like to welcome all the viewers. I think this is the most like live viewers. I think I've seen like 19 like live folks jumping in with us. So shouts out to all y'all. Make sure you guys are using the bits feature that just got unlocked through our affiliate status here. So that is pretty awesome. You guys get to show love to the show. But yeah, speaking of showing love, the Wrestling Observer Awards came out this past week, riding the coattails of the One Nation Radio Awards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's what that was.
The draw power grows, as Dylan says. Yes. So pretty interesting thing. Kind of reflects ours in a certain way. Lots of AEW domination, maybe even more than the previous year. They won 22 awards as a promotion. Stardom, I think, is advanced. Took a large step forward this year that a lot of us on this podcast saw coming,
and we were telling y'all.
And like, I think the cool thing is like now everyone's going to be trying to learn about Stardom, and who already been telling y'all about Stardom? ONR.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, man. Luthez, Ric Flair of the year. Kenny Omega wins. That's his second one of his career. That's pretty cool. There's not a lot of people that have two of them. Usually, if you're looking at two, that's like some super all-time great status. Like there's you can look at your Kobashis, Masawas, Cena, Tanahashi, Ric Flair, of course, done it like 8 times.
Yeah. It's awfully funny because like people
it's an exclusive list.
People were complaining about Kenny Omega getting into the Observer Hall of Fame last year.
Yes.
Or sorry, well, not last year, 2020.
How about it now?
And well, not even that. Like you look up and it's like, oh, like awards, like Flair Thez award share, he's like top 10
He's like 6th or some shit.
Yeah, he's 6th right now.
Yeah.
He's 6th right now, but it's like, yeah, a guy that finishes Flair Thesz is like, not even 6 people have gotten more votes than him in their career. Yeah, he probably should be in their Hall of Fame. Just a thought. Jesus Christ.
Look, man, like, this.
Are we
finished?
Rich, are we sure that Magic Johnson should be in the NBA, should be in the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame? Are we sure?
You know what? I don't know.
Are we jumping the gun by putting Larry Bird in the fucking Hall of Fame?
You know what? I feel like we got to look at Larry Bird and think about the fact he didn't play as long as, he didn't give us enough, years on and everything like that. Like, it's something like the way Larry.
But all the top 3 MVP finishes,
you just got to throw those out. They don't count. They don't count.
Apparently not
for Kenny.
Apparently not.
Niggas just decided in 2016, like, all right, it's time. Like, and then was like, this was another excellent year for him. You guys already know the drill on this show. All the business rose, all the matches were great, and like, it was like, oh, can he do it in America? Yes, he can do it in America. This is like, you think it's harder to wrestle in America than in Japan? Like, just saying. Like, so, and he did this while facing like lesser opponents or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think it's really fitting. It's like to go with the PWI Wrestler of the Year, to go with the number 1 on the 500. This one right here, he's an all-time great, and you just got to live with it. And you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you, because like lots of people disagree. Like you can dislike Kenny Omega. You can say, I don't like his matches. I think he's a goofball.
And that's fine. You're well within your right. There are plenty of people that didn't like Ric Flair matches. There are plenty of people that didn't like Misawa and Kobashi matches. There are plenty of people that didn't like Bret Hart or Shawn Michaels matches. Lots of people will still tell you that these Shawn Michaels matches weren't going in their lines of themselves. There are people that are talking about like Rey Mysterio Jr. and all this head scissors, right? Head scissors. All you do is head scissors. Well, we'll see who the kids are wrestling like in 5-10 years.
Yeah, because like I can look at a bunch of clones that's around that started like lifting his moveset and like everything like that. I'm just glad that I don't have to lie and act like my favorite wrestler is all time great when he's not. So. I'm glad I don't have to like come up with artificial things based on promotion size, to justify, these things. So, what's up, my man Frankie Leone and they're joining. We were just getting to talking about the Observer Awards, but another good win for him. Roman Reigns number 2, Shingo number 3. Roman obviously very dominant year in WWE. Presentation pretty much what their audience wants, which is just Roman Reigns and nothing else. So,
well, we don't necessarily know if that's what their fan base wants, but that's what they'll accept.
Right. 20 live viewers. Nice. Way to go, guys. So, what else we got? Make sure you're liking the stream, whatever you got to do to raise visibility. So, more people will jump in. But, in the top 10, James, Utami 5, Shuri number 7.
For Flair Thesz. Yep.
For Flair Thesz. What do you make of this?
I mean, it's probably for the rise of visibility from Western fan base, or from Western wrestling fans with the company. Like, the promotion, Budokan Hall was a godsend for them. In Western, having pay-per-views sold in big arenas that are the arenas that you're familiar with if you watch New Japan. Or, watch any Japanese wrestling from New Japan to All Japan to Noah over the last, 30 years. Like, getting Budokan Hall was a big deal. Shuri and Utami having that match break through the way it did was a big deal. Them doing Osaka Joe Hall was a big deal. Like that raised the reputation. Like, it's funny because, like, we'll get to it, but, like, if you compare some of the years that or if you compare Mayu's year, 2020, right?
Mm-hmm.
She got honorable mention for most outstanding last year.
Mm-hmm.
She had more great matches than anyone that I saw in wrestling. And like I was following New Japan hardcore in 2020. Like, and she was honorable mention. Like for to get 3 people for most outstanding in, it's big. That's like okay, like this.
Oh,
definitely,
Tam, also number 9.
that's most outstanding.
On most outstanding. My fault. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll save that. I'm sure that's where we're going next. But
Okay.
But yeah, like but yeah, like that's just show you like that's where this company has grown over the year. Like I remember Niagara Driver when they did the opening shows for the pay-per-views for the Grand Prix, where like look at last year. Obviously, it was COVID. Like they were just in Cork and Hall, and then look at them when they do the fighter poses or whatever else on the stage, and they're in I think Yokohama Budokan. Is like this is a company like that is like just the juxtaposition of like big ass arena, Cork and Hall. Like that's what it was in a year. So yeah, it makes sense that they had this kind of representation. I'm just surprised. Like I kind of predicted. I went a couple of days before like where one of some of the landmarks for people, and they outperformed it. They had more people, more representation than I even imagined, better placement than I even imagined. So onwards and upwards, I guess.
Yeah, man. Then your most outstanding wrestler, the star ratings, the everything. Number 1, Shingo Takagi was the IWGP champion most of last year. Oh man, holding up a sinking ship. It seems like perception wise, still a blessing for New Japan.
He's Atlas holding up the world. The world is New Japan world.
Yes, this man is like that. Man got the globe on his shoulders, like this, But after that we have Bryan Danielson, and then Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, Shuri, Phoenix, Tommy, Tomohiro Ishii, Tam, Katsuhiko Nakajima. Shouts out to Noah for that. Nakajima also finished his top 10 in in Flair Thez. But I know, I'm not obviously Brian and Kenny are awesome, but this is James's time right here. So I want to turn it over to you to talk. To put a pack in the air for the for number 9 on this list.
Oh man, I mean. I know I said to you when I saw on the early battling that she was in the top 10, the Tam was in the top 10, that like if she finishes, she actually follows through and gets on the top 10. I was gonna talk tons of shit, but to be quite honest with you, I thought about it. I was like, is it really worth it to talk shit about Tam when it's like, it was obvious to me that like this woman. Since 2019 was something special, and she never. It just wasn't her time yet. It wasn't her time to quote unquote hold the belts. And as JD says, like in judge promotions at times, like when you're the champion, is it so much that you're the champion, or is it your turn to have the big matches on top? And it was finally her time, and she did her thing, and it was a situation for me where it's like. The people that voted her are people that like are the watchers that watch the show, that watch most of the shows. Cause like you can watch her on big shows, be in a semi-main event, and do, can have a match that's awesome or have a match that's really good. And depends on what they're trying to do for whatever they're trying to do for the contender to set them up for the future. But, you watch her in these trios matches with the rest of Cosmic Angels, and like Unagi is rounding into form, and I think Mina is good, but like their defenses, like when she would just basically like put it all on her, she would go nuts in these matches. So like for me, like this was a thing of like when we talk about the exposure, like people are watching Stardom and not just watching just the big shows. So that was the part that kind of stuck through for me. But like besides that part, like if you want to just go through her Grand Prix, she was great in that too. But yeah, like them 2018 takes is all, bro. They dead. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Like this
put them in a casket.
There's a woman that's had multiple 4.5-star matches over the years. like in the last 3 years. I'm sorry, it's over. Like
James, I don't see anybody from Tokyo Joshi Pro on this.
No, you do not. I think you look at women's MVP. I think Miyu in the placing top 10.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
Yeah, she did. She did. But I think that's probably the only. And Maki Ito also most charismatic. Which makes sense. Shit. Like if not for the gap in exposure, like she could be number one. But yeah, like Tam just like, I'm sorry, man. Y'all gotta come up with some new takes. Like the whole Tam Nakano B Priestley stinking. Like that's 2008. It's 2022 at this point, or 2001, particularly this year when it happened. It's a dub for that.
So, Tag Team of the Year. James, I want you to tell me what do 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2020 have in common with 2021?
The Usos didn't win.
That is true. But the Young Bucks indeed did win all those years. So yeah. I'm advocating for it right now. I may even clip this and just send it to Dave. Dave, rename the award. We know you want to. Fuck what they say. I know they're going to get furious. Actually, you know what? Do the 2-for-1. Do it the year they go in the Hall of Fame first ballot. Do that and change it at the same time just to send them into complete overdrive and shock. Another all-time year for the Young Bucks. These guys, phenomenal. Face and heel. Heel turn at the beginning of the year. Completely reinvent their act. Turn up the douchiness a lot. And still the match quality never falls off no matter what company it's in. Like the Bucks are the most plug-and-play wrestlers in wrestling, I feel like. You can drop them anywhere and be like, hey, go ahead and do y'all thing and then it's going to work. And they had a great reign as champions. They lost the belts great, and they're just the Bucks. This is an institution at this point. It shouldn't be a surprise. It shouldn't be something that just catches people off guard. I also noticed FTR did not have any of those from 2014 to any of those 7.
Where did they finish?
They finished third. They finished third. Penta and Phoenix finished second. And
where did Usos finish?
6th. Behind Shuri and Julia.
That's where I was getting at. I noticed that one. I noticed that. Like they finished behind the Stardom tag team that missed like the last third of the year because Julie was hurt. With a neck injury. Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Yep, wow. That's on the interviews. MJF got the win on this one. So
yes, Eddie Kingston finished what, second?
Finished second. Yep.
Punk third.
Punk third. Mox fourth. Lambert fifth. Roman Reigns finished 6th. Paul Heyman 7th. Callis 8th. 9th. Bryan 10th. Miro.
Brother, you know why I mentioned best interviews. Go to the honorable mention.
Tam Nakano. In front of Edge.
In front of Edge, doing fucking Hamlet in the middle of the ring every other week, every time he shows up. He got beat out by a woman in a promotion that doesn't even do promos like that. Best on interviews is for her doing interviews in magazines. she beat Edge. When I saw that, I died.
I think Paul Heyman making this list is a stretch at this point.
It's based on rep. It's based on rep.
Yeah.
I don't know what he did that was so different from what he's done all these other years, aside from saying I missed my tribal chief and my tribal chief this and my tribal chief that. So
that's
whatever.
not gonna cut it for me. I don't know if Roman's ever made this list before, but maybe it's his first time.
I don't think he has.
Yeah, Edge went to that place, and that place was honorable mention.
Yeah.
Promotion of the year, by far, AEW. Number 2, Stardom, and then New Japan Pro Wrestling. Then Game Changer after that.
I thought going in that Stardom was going to be in a dogfight to try to get number 2. And then I saw the voting, I was like, wow, they're a clear-cut number 2. It's not even close.
Yep. Way more first place votes than New Japan.
Yeah, that was surprising.
So, AEW dominating. And they've won it 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row.
They didn't win in 2019?
No.
Okay.
Best weekly TV show, we got Dynamite on top, then Rampage, New Japan Strong, SmackDown number 4, NXT all the way down at number 6.
Yeah. Last year they were number 2.
Funny how that works. Did anything happen with them this year?
Not much.
Okay.
Not much.
Shout out to AEW Dark at number 9 on there. So
ain't nothing
dark
like
perverts.
Ain't nothing like
dark sickos as myself. I like to throw dark on, while I'm working.
Oh man, it's so
exactly.
sad.
My man Frankie Leone. Dark is a damn good show. Exactly.
It's so sad, man. Go from number 1 to number 2 to change every fucking thing, and now y'all number 6. And the only reason why number 6 is because of what you had the first half of the year that was the old show. Let's see what NXT 2.0 is on this shit next year.
It could even go further.
Yeah.
Pro Wrestling Match of the Year: Young Bucks versus Pentagon and Phoenix, the cage match. So another match of the year for the Young Bucks. That's 2 years in a row. I don't believe that there's a lot of people I'm seeing missing. That I just continue to. I don't see. I don't see FTR. I don't see. Jimmy and Jay. Unfortunately, here. We got to start, having these conversations. We got to start talking about it. After that, it was Shingo and Will from Fukuoka, then Taku, Omega and Danielson and Page, and then the first Utami and Shuri rounds up your top 5.
Yep.
Interesting. We also got our United States Canada MVP. This is kind of mixing everybody in one bag. Kenny Omega by far. Looks like Roman Reigns just finishes in front of Danielson for number 2. But yeah, we already talked about Kenny's year this year pretty much. You know what it is. Japanese MVP Shingo. Utami, however, finished number 2. Utami finishes in front of Okada.
Yeah. That didn't surprise me. Okada didn't do. Obviously he had the match on January 4th, but then it's then he has the G1, but it's he didn't win. What happened to Ibushi also affected that. If he went out there and had some 5 3/4 star match on the Dave Meltzer scale, then people look at it more fondly. But it's shit. His crowning moment was some shit where one of people's favorite wrestlers ended up getting put on the shelf for months. He still ain't back. So
Mexico MVP El Hijo del Vikingo. So Rey Fenix had won the last 2 years. Vikingo wins it this year.
Where was he this year?
Phoenix was 3rd. Psycho Clown was number 2. Shout out to Kenny Omega being number 5 on that. So
how do I say this? Lucha Blog says this every single year. Stop voting for Phoenix for being the MVP for this shit. He wrestles a handful of matches, if that, in Mexico all year long. Y'all are voting him because he's the best Mexican in AEW. Stop it.
We got the Europe MVP. Finally, Walter does not win. Will Ospreay wins. This has been the Walter Award for its entire existence from 2018, 19, and 20. But Walter finished 2nd this year. I
wonder how many matches he actually had that weren't
probably NXT. 5.
Yeah, so that's also a part of it as well. But yeah,
wow, great points. Funny things being brought up in the chat right now. Brewhaven says the characters in Euphoria are more convincing than Toxic Attraction.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I'd agree with that.
I actually watched last night. I watched the play episode. I haven't caught everything yet.
But you skipped basically over all of season 1 just to get to the penultimate episode of season 2?
I just happened to watch it last night, so I'm still going to watch the rest of it. So,
all right. Has Catherine watched it yet?
She has watched all of them. Like apparently, like she told me she was jumping for. She told me she was jumping forward, and I didn't like hear that or whatever or something. So I'm behind. So I got to catch up.
She said catch up. She's like, fuck that. I'm on to Cincinnati. I'm waiting for your ass. I will leave you. I need to hit up Kat to talk about it because, like, man, like. I love what Lexi did last night, but it ain't enough. Now arrest him. Put his ass in jail. There are a few fictional characters ever that I hate more than Nate Jacobs. Few.
Yeah. Nate Jacobs is a bad guy.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it for none of y'all, or whatever else, but man.
We gonna stop.
We gonna stop. But yeah, we need to get him the fuck out of here.
The Hodge Award. Darby Allin wins it. That's your non-heavyweight MVP. So, second place is Rey Fenix. Third, Hiromu Takahashi. So, women's wrestling MVP.
Are you allowed to vote? I got a question. Are you allowed to vote for Jonathan Gresham on this, or will he like get upset?
I don't know. I want to mince my words. Like I know, he don't really find the height jokes, too funny.
But this isn't a height joke. This is a weight joke. But his weight is influenced by the fact that he's not, he's lacking in
stature. Let's just say that.
Right.
So, women's wrestling MVP. So. I feel like we should do a countdown from 10 to 1 on this one.
Sure.
Number 10, Serena Deeb. Number 9, Tam Nakano. Number 8, Miyu Yamashita. Number 7, Becky Lynch. Number 6, Deonna Purrazzo. Number 5, Charlotte Flair. Number 4, Bianca Belair. Number 3, Shuri. Number 2, Britt Baker. And number 1 by 20 votes, Utami Hayashishita.
Yeah. Thank goodness for Stardom.
Look at Britt being sandwiched, in between that great, all three, top 3, just great. All of them.
Yeah. Yeah. These are all the same level of worker in main event wrestlers.
Exactly the same. Absolutely. Big stars. Good gear. Put on top for the first time. All that exactly the same.
Yeah.
Women.
It's all the same, right? It's all the same. All Nintendo, right? Yeah, man. This is one where we talk about the Stardom exposure or them blowing up this year. Like previous years, like Mayu last year, Mayu finished 20 votes or so short of Bailey last year on this. So like, I think I think the women's wrestling MVP has been lost to Japan from this point forward. Has done what? Has been lost to Japan?
Yes.
Oh well, yeah.
Yep. Like there's no chance. No.
Now that people know. Now that people know, and now that there's a stable situation for Joshi, absolutely.
Like unless Thunder Rosa wins, and then they feed her Toni Storm, Athena, all these people that are like out there, and like they roll an assembly line of challengers out, and she wins the rest of the year. That's the only way I think the MVP stays out of Japan next year.
Well, I mean, I think that there are certain years like a 2016 Sasha Banks year. Like there are certain top years in WWE that like will still be able to pick it up, but it doesn't seem like WWE's interested in having those type of top years for women wrestlers anymore. So I think that's gonna be an issue. AEW, this was their best shot for a while. Like we'll see. I think anyway. Like, but Thunder Rosa has a shot. She has a real shot next year to finish. She's gonna place in the top 3. But yeah, I think going forward, like it's gonna be a lot of Stardom in them top 3 going forward now because it's only gonna go up from here.
Yep. Feud of the year: Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. Number 1, big feud in the history of the company.
Yep.
We talk about it all the time. Utami and Shuri. Number 2. So after that, 3 was Chris Jericho and MJF.
Okay.
Most improved, Ty Conti, number 1, over Dante Martin. And Saya Kamatani, number 3. Shouts out to Tall Saya. Most charismatic, CM Punk over MJF. MJF has won this thing last year at least. And CM Punk, Bryan Danielson finally wins his award back. Bryan Danielson wins the Bryan Danielson Best Technical Award. That man's free from prison and immediately gets, snatches back what, this is his 10th time he's won this award, James. 10 of them.
Yeah, he never won it. He never won it in WWE.
That can't be true.
I think that's the case.
He won it. No, he won it. He won it in 2010, 11, 12, 13, and 14. He hadn't won it
on that. I'm mistaken
since his the first time that he went away.
You know what I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of the part where Meltzer it never gave him a 5-star or something like that. Maybe that's what.
Gotcha. I'm telling you, man. Jon Moxley wins the Bruiser Brody Best Brawler Award.
What do you think of that?
I don't think this was some great brawling year for Mox.
And he missed so much time too.
He missed a lot of time, but he did have the Exploding Barbed Wire Death match. He had the
match with the New Japan Dads.
With the lights out and that. He had a Texas Death match with Lance Archer. But after that, he did do some great brawling against 10 later in the year, but I feel like this should have been Kingston. Maybe. Or just give it to Ishii again.
My thing is this, right? If we're going to do a Best Brawler thing Moxley won in 2019 or whatever else, but if we're going to do that, can it, these people aren't actually better brawlers than Shingo and Ishii. They aren't.
Right.
So, it's a visibility thing and they had down years, but it's them dudes ain't better brawlers than Shingo Takagi. You're out of your mind. But whatever. Whatever.
Best flying wrestler, Rey Fenix.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Obviously you can't they're not going to give the Vikingo. No one watches.
He's
Lucha.
number 2. He's number 2, but he's far away. Dante Martin is coming though, because you start looking at this list, right? And I'm looking for people that are younger.
Mm-hmm.
Dante's younger. Bandito's in his mid-20s, early to mid-20s. But people like Sammy's on there. He's 28. Nick Jackson's 30. Will Ospreay doesn't fly as much anymore. He's on there somehow. So there's going to be room for some new flyers to emerge in the coming years.
Yep.
And this was the first time either Ricochet, Will Ospreay,
Ibushi,
or Kota Ibushi didn't win since for a long time.
Wow.
And piece of best flying wrestler Teddy Hart. He's a clown.
Wow.
Let's see. Most overrated. Number 1, Evil. Which they're overrated. Translates to most overpushed. Number 2 is Roman Reigns on there. Number 3 is Omos. 4, The Miz. 5, Keiji Muto. What's up, Zach? Number 7, Cody.
Look, man, here's something to point out, right? Muto is 58 now, I think.
Yeah.
Austin's getting ready for WrestleMania. He's 57.
Wow. It seems like Austin's older than dirt.
He's 57.
Right.
So yeah, he kind of is older than dirt.
Yeah.
Weren't you watching the beginning of the rebirth of NWA?
Yes.
Or mistaken. Who was the old dude?
Tim Storm.
Right. How old is Tim Storm? Or was he at that point in time?
I think Tim Storm was 50 at that time.
And then, right. So there you go.
Oh, yeah. I didn't really get to talk about my Stone Cold Steve Austin thoughts last week. But my God. If they're bringing back Stone Cold Steve Austin, right? There is no limit they won't go at this point.
Hogan? Dig up Savage?
Hogan. He's on the table. If he can get cleared, he's on the table at some point. Somewhere. I don't think he can get cleared, but he's on the table. I think, as far as Austin, he had the perfect way to go out. Obviously, a lot of this shit should belong to him, like with WWE. They're still selling WWE based on Stone Cold Steve Austin. Mm-hmm. Look at some of the video games. He's right there in the front still. He's the person that they're showing, that's still selling merch. Person he's still put on, advertising and all that shit. So, I don't have a problem with Stone Cold Steve Austin coming back and be like, yo, I want some of that wrestler money right now. Like, I don't have a problem with that because, like, he's the most over person in the history of wrestling. Like, I love Stone Cold. Like, it's sad to see, like, hey, he didn't come back for CM Punk back in the day, which would have been, like, fucking incredible.
Then had that Saudi money.
This isn't Saudi money. This is, like, you know, WrestleMania / TV money.
It is
more money than...
Look, the ends are being met and being subsidized by the Saudi show. Like, maybe he's not doing the Saudi show, but that money, in part, some of them dollars is coming from the Saudi pile. Yeah. That's all I'm getting at.
Yeah, and, you know, it's in Texas, of course. They want to throw that on there. But, you know, this is what we talk about. This is what they are. This is a nostalgia company. Like, they're always thinking about the past. So, like, to bring in, like, why can't Stone Cold come back at this point? They've already broken the dam. So, like, I wish it meant more because it, you know, he's going to fight in the mid card against, like, Kevin Owens. And it's like, bro, you would think if you're bringing back Stone Cold Steve Austin, it's for Brock fucking Lesnar. And then they could
for
do
the
that
Texas Death Match.
Yes. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I don't care that Kevin Owens does the stunner or hates Texas, whatever the storyline is. But, yeah, man, I love Stone Cold. And I hate to kind of see it like this in a way. But I don't blame him at all.
Well, there is... Okay, so there's also this part. Allegedly, like, this isn't just for one show. This is for multiple shows. Right. So, like,
he could slide into the Goldberg role.
I guess it could be because I'm not sure that Goldberg role will just be given up. I think Goldberg is going to re-up, but yeah, I think that like there will be time for them to get to a Brock Lesnar and Austin match. The problem is like when are y'all going to get back to Texas because like a Texas Death Match in Texas kind of would be more of a thing than like a Texas Death Match in Los Angeles, don't you think? Yeah, but you know, whatever. They don't care about those sorts of things.
Look, I just hope Stone Cold's in good shape, and then he can punch, kick, and
cosmetic shape or wrestling shape.
Both.
Look, I think he'll have the cosmetics down now. As far as you know, being able to move, boy. Do you think he'll have knee braces on his knee braces?
He might have like extra knee braces at ringside, like just in case. Most underrated, Ricochet, number 1 with a bullet.
Yeah. How many people were WWE? All of them?
No, but we got Ricochet, number 2, Chad Gable, number 3, Mustafa Ali, 4, Ricky Starks, 5, Matt Riddle, 6, Daniel Garcia, 7, Cody Rhodes, tied for 7th, Finn Balor, number 9, Anthony Bowens, tied for 9th, Santana and Ortiz.
Okay.
Rookie of the Year, Jade Cargill. I didn't think Jade would get the love in the voting that she did.
I think people realize that like it don't matter if she's not a good wrestler yet. Like they look, the people like seeing Jade Cargill on screen. I love seeing Jade I gotta say, I agree with them. So
shout out to Jade, you know.
Yeah. Who finished second?
Number 2 was Jack Cartwheel.
I don't know who that is. But...
PWG guy. Number 3 was Lady C, though.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Take the Lady C victory lap, James. Tell us how she was rotten up until, you know.
Yo, she stuck until like the summer. She really did. And then she started being put in matches and she was good. Like, and she had a number of good matches she was put in, and I think it's just one of those things where it's like, hey, this promotion or just Joshi in general and Puro in general, like they're just better at training wrestlers than when we are. Like you could stink and be rotten, and then in 6 months, all of a sudden you could have some show signs of life, and then go from there. Like
JML says Lady C was robbed.
Say again?
JML said Lady C was robbed.
I mean, match-wise, no competition. Like, Lady C had, I mean, you know, we talked about it in joke, like, until December, like, she had a better match guy than Cody. The person you're talking about is so fucking underrated, apparently. But yeah,
Cody was also on the overrated list. So, like, he hit both sides.
So
there.
basically, he's like the Fiend or whatever now.
Right.
Great.
Imagine, like,
Gotta
this is
love
the
when you
people
reach
everyone was saying was this genius.
Yeah, gotta love when you reach that moment of polarization. Where, like, not everybody's saying you're great, but people were like, yeah, he sucks, and also he's good. Great.
Right down the middle. So some of the guys in the chat were, talking about Keiji Muto and Austin. I was just wondering who had the worst knees out of those two. Who you got? Who you got in a 40-yard dash, James? Muto or Austin?
I'll go with Austin.
Okay, I think I'll go Austin as well.
I'll go with Austin. Now, who? I still would trust Muto to do everything else with athleticism better than Austin outside of like lifting weights and running. That's it. Like change direction. I'll go with Muto. I'll go Muto. Yeah, right. Like I'm not like Austin. Like Austin's not finna come out here and hit a moonsault. It's not happening. It's out of the fucking question.
This one, best non-wrestler. I think there was a real robbery that went down. Paul Heyman finishes 5 votes in front of Don Callis. I think Callis smoked his boots.
Heyman won?
Yes, Heyman won. So, I don't know about that one. Best television
Callis
announcer.
also was like not on TV for like seemingly like for months. Like he's been going for months.
So Excalibur won best television announcer. Good for him.
Sure.
Back to back. Corey Gray is worst television announcer.
Nah, like he's not worse than Michael Cole.
Michael Cole was number 2.
But yeah, Michael Cole should win
it. Best major show. So AEW All Out doubles up Full Gear. Full Gear was number 2. Stardom Queendom 12/29 was number 3. Double or Nothing number 4. Cyber Fight Festival number 5. So AEW Dynamite Grand Slam made the fucking list. That's hilarious. But what else can be said about All Out? Like, good God.
Yep, an all-time pay-per-view.
Sam said, now that you said it, I would love a cross-wrestling promotional 40-yard dash. He said he has Leo Rush in that, by the way.
To win?
I don't know if Leo Rush's legs are long enough.
Don't do that. Let's see. If I was going to pick a wrestler to win the 40-yard dash across promotions...
I'm picking Bianca Belair or Montez Ford.
Well, yes, you would pick an obvious track person. If I were going to go outside of the track world, I don't know. I never thought about it because it's like nobody's actually moving at their peak speed or quickness. Right. Like it's all a work. Right. And then like if people try to fake wrestle as fast as they could, like we would be able like people. I don't even know what you do. Your brain would explode because people move too fast.
I would like
that's the beauty of high speed wrestling. Like people wrestle like probably 80% of their top speed and like is lightning fast just to watch to the senses. But
worst major show, WWE Survivor Series.
The Egg, The Rock, the fake, the teasing of The Rock will be there, but he wasn't there. He gave Vince a Cleopatra egg.
Best wrestling maneuver. We've talked about this award before. Adam Page wins with the buckshot lariat over Kenny Omega's One Wing Angel.
Okay.
Most disgusting promotional tactic.
Oh God.
This should be the WWE. This should be the WWE most disgusting promotional tactic. Honestly, they should name the award after them at this point. They had 8 of the 10, or excuse me, let's see. They had number 1, firing wrestlers during a pandemic while setting record profits. Number 2, WWE's continued relationship with Saudi Arabia. Number 3, WWE using releases and storylines. Tied for number 3, WWE's handling of COVID. Number 8, WWE false advertising of talent they know won't appear. Number 9, WWE Liv Morgan scripted to say Lynch's contract is why wrestlers are fired. Number 10, WWE changing NXT. I got put on most disgusting promotional tactic. That's incredible.
For the record, I am not an observer voter. I did not vote for that. No, I know you. I know you're probably thinking that that's probably James gave a number one vote for that. It was not me. I don't vote for the Observer Awards.
Worst television show: Raw, then NXT, then Impact, then WWE 205 Live, then WWE SmackDown. What a top 5!
Yeah. Oh man! All right, so
worst match of the year: Damian Priest versus The Miz, the Zombies. Oh, worst match of the year. That's all. That's also a WWE section for the most part.
Visibility.
Man, let's take a look at this. This one got to go 10 to the top. So,
okay.
Why did a WWE stream appear on my Rico? Joe Biden speaks WWE's fate. Okay, so my man then jumped in the chat like, all right, I don't know who you are, but welcome. So, number 10, Chris Jericho versus Nick Gage. I don't know how that got on there. That match actually that ruled. Number 9, B-Fab versus Elektra Lopez.
Wait, hold on. Buddy said WWE is fake. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't. Do you not know that? Is that a shock? Like, I don't.
Do you think that like people do this and it's like, yeah, man, like we know it's fake. We enjoy the fake fighting. Like I enjoy real fighting too, but like I also enjoy the fake fighting.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
We love it. Now do something. Like I don't. But
do you know? Do you know that Euphoria is fake? Yeah.
Like you don't have that power here, buddy. Like that's not what you do. But you're more than welcome to join us.
No, the better part is like he thinks he's trolling us. Like, yeah, right. Man, we agree it is fake. Like I'm not one of the wrestling fans who like, well, you know, it's what do they say? Well, you know, it's predetermined. It's predetermined. It's scripted. No, it's fake. I don't care. Like,
yeah. B-Fab and Elektra Lopez, they sent them 2 women in there that I don't even know if they had 5 matches combined with weapons and all the other stuff. So let's see. Number 8, Charlotte Flair versus Nia Jax. Ooh, that's the one that broke down into a shoot. Yeah. That's when the fake stuff stopped right there. That's when it got real, buddy. But after that, we got Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair, the obvious disaster in Las Vegas at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
So Ray versus Lash Legend. Man, that one is... everybody in the chat, I would like everyone to talk about all the real things that happened in wrestling to our new friend that joined us, as Sir Sam is doing. So Ray and Lash Legend, that was that clip that went into virality with that with that bad elbow drop, and it was like, you know, shit went nuts. Yeah. Alexa versus Shayna Baszler.
I remember. Do you remember the discourse around that though?
Yes.
People were like, "Why the fuck's Saray, you know, wasting her, you know, obvious talents, you know, in development like this?" And the people were like, "Well, you gotta understand, like, Saray has nothing left to prove in Japan. She's a legend." I was like, she's a legend. She's 25 and wrestled in a hole-in-the-wall promotion, even by Joshi standards. What are you making fucking TV on Samurai TV? What the fuck do you mean a legend? What?
A legend. Yes. Yes. Legendary.
Right,
who knew?
Yeah.
Who knew? The sun god.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So we had Alexa Bliss and Shayna Baszler, Britt Baker and Rebel versus Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero. I remember this one. This one Rebel got hurt. This was not good. And that was like one of those early, hey, we got fans back fully. It was like, why is this on the screen? Why is Vicky Guerrero in the ring? Huh? So after that, we had Randy Orton and Alexa Bliss at number 3. I remember Alexa Bliss mounting Randy Orton and pinning him, and it was like the Fiend came back. And if you thought this was like, Randy Orton adding to that Hall of Fame resume with match 2 and 3, worst match of the year, Randy Orton versus the Fiend at WrestleMania. Hey.
Undertaker got a lot of bad matches too. That's all I'll say. Like, a bad match ain't gonna keep you out of the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame. It's not.
Yeah. And number 1, of course, like we said earlier, Damian Priest and The Miz. The zombies eat the wrestlers. Yeah, bad news. Worst feud of the year: Randy Orton versus the Fiend and Alexa Bliss. Way to go, Randy. Oh, number 3, Cody Rhodes and Anthony Nagaoka. That's great. Worst promotion of the year: WWE by a landslide. Best Booker, Tony Khan. Number 2, Rossi Ogawa. The Gato era is over.
Yeah. Like, he didn't even finish third, right?
Nope.
Yeah, what was it? Nagawa finished third, right?
Sean Shelby, whoever.
Okay. I don't know who that is. Where did Buddy from GCW land? Lauderdale.
He was number 5, just behind Gato. So, GCW, they don't even book at all, some people say. Just barely behind Gato.
He got to get House of Torture the fuck out of there, man. He out here ruining his prestige.
Ruining his rep. Yeah, ruined the rep. Yeah, man, it's incredible. Man. GCW and NJPW are peers. I need to make that an NFT. Oh my god, I got to screenshot that. That's great. I got to send that to Keepin It Strong Style. Oh, that's amazing. I need that. Oh yes,
Can
sir.
you fucking imagine?
Oh yes, sir. Got to save that.
Look, I have never, and I mean ever, heard of anything from GCW resembling anything like that Okada and Ospreay from this year. but sure, yeah.
Let's
I heard
see.
fucking off a Hammerstein Ballroom, but they ended up. Oh, the UFC's Booker. Okay, that makes sense.
So
even though
I want everybody to see this, I blew it up on the stream of Brewhaven. GCW and NJPW are peers. Unbelievable.
Oh man,
I got to show this to Jeremy and Josh. This is great. Let's see. Best gimmick, Roman Reigns wins. Number 1. Looks like, yeah, okay. So they have one single person from WWE who everyone likes, and then it's nothing but like AEW wrestlers that everyone has their favorites, and then there's like a Danhausen, there's a Matt Cardona thrown in. Yeah, so
is Starlight Kid on there?
She is.
Yeah. Best gimmick, mass wrestler. Okay.
Best gimmick for Roman Reigns, like, they found something. I guess it resonated somewhere. So, number 1 worst gimmick, Alexa Bliss. Like, you know what the worst thing about Alexa Bliss's gimmick is? It's
she's
not
back,
even
and
hers.
She's doing it again.
It's like they stole it and like gave it to her, like after, like to yeah.
And the thing is,
roll
like,
it over.
They took something that was bad and gave it to someone else, and like they're also doing bad with it. Like, it's hand me down shit.
Yeah. The thing about it, Zach says no eel for best gimmick for shame.
Oh, for their gimmick, Kabuki. All right.
Gotta assess. These people. We're gonna talk about that later.
The assessor Unagi.
Yes.
That's funny.
Best pro wrestling book, Mox. James can speak to that one. I did not read that book yet.
Great book.
Wrestling Doc, Dark Side of the Ring, Brian Pillman won, and that's it. But yeah, those are the Observer Awards. There's something to look at. So awards go back to 1980, so it's pretty interesting to look at, and you can really look at who's who, the best, the last 40 years. So I guess, James, it's very exciting times here on One Nation Radio, because it's time to hit the music.
Nah, Rich. In fact, it's not time for me to hit the music. It's time for you to hit the music. So I need you to go to your Gmail. I need you to go check out what I just sent you in the attachment. And I want you to press play for the viewers at home to get a good listen to.
You sent it to my Gmail.
Yes.
There we go. Oh, he told me to hit the music. So here we go.
We drop bows on them. Drop bows on them. When we drop bows on them. Drop bows on them. When we we drop bows on them. Drop bows on them. When we we drop bows on them. Drop bows on them. When we drop bows on them. Drop bows on them. When we
Man, that slowed down some of the hospitality.
So, not only did I have to do that, I had forgot that, like, that part is only on the video version. It's not on like the album version, like the drop bows on the part, right? Otherwise, it's playing like instrumental. So I had to go to YouTube. I had to just rip that shit down. Look, then I had to like rip off like the beginning, like the intro and the outro, and then blend in a time or put it in timing together. And then I slowed it down to make sure that like if this shit goes on YouTube or whatever else, it won't be taken down. So I went through and looked around and like, let me see if there's any Jay-Z slowed down songs that are up there on YouTube. Because if Jay-Z,
there's plenty. If
Jay-Z slowed down is up, anything you can throw anything slowed down or up. So we're good. Yeah, man. KAIRI has returned to Stardom. This happened basically hours before the Observer stuff came out. Observer Awards reputation. So like. From a Western perspective, I was talking to Niagara Driver about this. Like, I said, like, I think this is one of the biggest days for Western expansion or fandom, whatever you want to call it, for Stardom or exposure. And he was like, no, it is the greatest day ever. To get a WWE superstar to return, which he wanted to return a year ago, but, you know, let's not get into that. But, yeah, she's back. And the first person she said that she wanted to get in the ring with was Tam. Tam happened to be at the press conference. She walked up with Unagi. Unagi said, "Hey, who are you?" They never met each other. She's never
prove herself.
Apparently, she's never opened a newspaper. In the words of read newspaper before. In the words of Robert Ory.
It's about right now. You know, the eel has never seen you.
Yeah. So, there was a bit of awkwardness of words back and forth between Unagi and KAIRI, and Tam was trying to trying to be respectful. At one point, Tam revealed herself to be a Fed mark by saying, "Unagi, be quiet. She's a former WWE superstar wrestler." She didn't say superstar wrestler. I was like, "Oh, Tam's a Fed mark."
Tam's in the FDS. Who knows?
So. Like, that's a big star. She was in the WWE. She wrestled for Vince McMahon in New York. Madison Square Garden.
Look, you think Unagi even knows what New York is?
Well, in the way that we say it, absolutely not. But I bet she understands Madison Square Garden.
That's funny.
So anyway,
Unagi said, "What's a WWE?" That's what JML said. That's great.
So then from there, there was a match proposed, and then between those two, and KAIRI said, "Well, how about a match?" Rossi sitting there, he was like, "Well, you want to do a tag match? Sure, that's fine." For the first night of Sumo Hall, because doing 2 nights back to back. The first night, KAIRI said, "How about you two versus me and another daughter of Stardom, Mayu." So that's night one. And then, they said their piece and they walked off, and KAIRI went to take pictures and sign off, and then that damn Oedo Tai comes from behind and attacks KAIRI. And this is a Oedo Tai that featured the 3 people that were there were all people that were there when KAIRI left. Momo and Kid and Natsuko. They were all crying tears, boo-boo face as she was gone, and now you're back and, we're healed, so we'll beat you up. Get a little heat. So, they beat them up, so you figure like there's eventually going to be a program. We'll see what it is. Today, in Korakuen Hall, they had a show, or this morning in Korakuen Hall, they had a show where, after the main event, Oedo Tai attacked, Natsupoi. Natsupoi was kind of, mentored by KAIRI. KAIRI got involved, and that is setting up for night 2, in Sumo Hall, Kid versus KAIRI. So yeah, like KAIRI's immediately put in with big stars, big matches, giving people looks on these big shows, like with Tam and Unagi. It's in the WWE. This is how they would do it if WWE really meant it. Like, we'll put you in a match with a big star and we'll beat you and you'll get the rod being put over. When Unagi catches this elbow drop. When she gets this elbow drop, she actually will have gotten something from it for being in a match with Tam and Mayu and KAIRI in Sumo Hall. And Kid, we know Kid's going to lose. She's about to get elbowed too. That's not the point. like, Kid is going to be in this gigantic match that a lot of people thought was going to be for Kamatani, but is going to Kid, and Kid is going to greatly benefit for being in a showcase headlining match in Sumo Hall, and especially in the years to come, having that on a resume. So, yeah, that is the KAIRI run right now. So far.
James, I would like to talk about the all-time finesse job that KAIRI pulled on WWE, their insane fans, all that shit. Like, KAIRI was like, yo, I want to move back to Japan. I hate this place. And I don't want to be in the Royal Rumble. No, thank you. I'm opening a gym. You know, I'm just riding my contract out. They had her locked in jail for years, it seems like. And the second she's out, what's happening? There's a mystery angles being run for her, and she finally, you know, clears it up and goes home. And you know, she didn't want to retire or lay it down like that. No, that woman wanted to wrestle at home.
I don't disagree. Another part that's interesting is the word is this isn't some only Big Show thing. She will be doing shows. Like, how will she be a regular when she's, you know, doing effectively 100 dates in a year, given the rate of shows that Stardom does? Probably not. But if she's going to be doing Korakuen Halls in Osaka Indian Arena, the second Osaka Indian Arena, and doing like the ballrooms in Tokyo along with the pay-per-views, like, that's a big deal. Like, if she's doing that, like, she can be champion again. So we'll see how this goes. Like,
I just hope she's able to pass her assessment through Nagi. Nagi's able to give it a thumbs up and thumbs down. Nagi's like Sean Waltman, you know.
This gonna be this audience assessment that's gonna be needed when she drop one of these. They're
gonna bring Unagi in the office, and they're gonna treat her like Sean Waltman and be like, "Hey, so can she work?" And then Nagi's gonna give it an answer from there, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, man, super excited, super happy for this. Like, if not for KAIRI, we're never covering Stardom to begin with. Like, straight up. Like, if she never comes into the Mae Young Classic and impresses the hell out of me and Rich, and then, you know, does what she does in NXT, it never gives me reason to say what the hell else is out there. And then, you know, also seeing EO makes me think, what the hell, you know, did they leave from if they're this damn good? And then, you know, Stardom 2019. So, like, where we start watching it. So, yeah, like, it's a big fucking deal for me that she's back. And I'm just going to enjoy it. Like, you know, I think Meltzer reported it, you know, as she left in the summer 2020, that, like, her idea is to wrestle a year and a half or 2 years, and then wrap it up. So, like, make the best of the opportunity she has. Like, the Stardom that she left in 2017, when Momo is 17 and Kid is 16, and, you know, and Azumi is 15, like, it's totally different. Like, these are some of the best wrestlers in the world, as opposed to, you know, just people that promise you with potential. Like, so, there was no Shuri, there was no Julia, there was no Tam Nakano. Like, speaking of the Tam part, like, KAIRI's when she has her gauntlet match and leaves, that's like June, like early June. Tam shows up in the middle of July. So they're like, you know, ships missing in the middle of, or past the middle of the night. Kind of like, when O'Reilly was talking about Finn Balor in 2020, like, when I got to this place, this person was gone. When I went to when I went to other place, they were also gone. Like, now we finally get to see it. So that's gonna be really fun.
Question from Zach James: who's the second mystery woman?
That I was gonna get to that. So,
Brandy?
I don't think it's gonna be Brandy Rhodes. No. But
they'll tie, you know, for life. You know, kind of like Bullet Club. You know.
I don't know who it is. I've seen people speculate it might be Sayori Ano, that used to be in Actress Girls around the same time as Natsupoi. Who knows? I really can't speak on it. Zach, who do you think it is? You can type it in and we'll you know, I'll respond. But, like, you know, there is some. You look at what Io's never going to the main roster. Do you think she's going to the main roster?
No.
I mean, I don't know how much longer her contract would be.
I think a lot of people want Io Freed.
Oh, yeah. Look what she's done last year. She's done nothing.
Yeah.
Bushiroad wants her. They stated the second they bought the company, or not second, like the day they bought the company at the press conference, they were like, we want Io, we would like Io and KAIRI to come back. Well, we halfway there.
Yep.
Just hold on, we coming home.
Yep. So just gotta ride it out.
Yeah. Yeah. He says Hiromi Mamura. Hiromi's a comedy geek. Like she was so like when KAIRI was before she left, like she had almost like a little stable of her own with Konami and Hiromi, and like she does goofy comedy stuff, like and she's like as old as KAIRI, maybe even older. She was in that train wreck battle royal at Budokan Hall last year. But yeah, she'd be fun to come back to do some things, but I don't know. Like I think the roster where it is right now, I think KAIRI makes 31.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, we're kind of reaching that point to where like if you add more people, then we need to start splitting up the touring schedule.
The units.
Yeah. So we'll see. He says he wants Miyuki Takase. I mean, brother, we all do. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Whoever it is, I'm sure it's going to be a big deal because, like, you know, they're doing the same thing as a KAIRI thing. So,
yeah, man. Do we have a pay-per-view coming up?
Yes. We have Cinderella Journey 2022 in Nagaoka. This is a B-show pay-per-view by Stardom standards. Not to say that it won't be a good card because they have some great matches on it, but just to go through it, first match is Future of Stardom match between Hanan and Kogo. So that's Stardom versus Stars. I'm sure they'll have a decent match. I don't know if it'll be as good as the Lady C match, but we'll see. Second match, Utami in C versus Roaka and Momo. That's more playing and building up the eventual special singles match between Utami, or special grudge match between Utami and Momo. So that's also, you know, this is their second time on pay-per-view in a row. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be a special match for one of the one of the two Sumo Hall shows. I don't see why I wouldn't them, you know, building up this Momo and Utami thing. Next match after that, Mayu and Tam put together versus Saki in Death. So I don't know what this match was supposed to be, but I think this is like them trying to figure out where to place everybody after what happened with Tam and the other two Cosmic Angels that ended up being putting COVID jail at right on the 11th hour before the last pay-per-view. But they basically set it up to where it's going to be Saki versus Mayu, and it's going to be Death versus Tam, and Saki, given the history of being a dirtbag to Mayu and Stars, say, hey, how about I team with my normal tag team partner versus you and, you know, your old friend that, you know, y'all are on the rocks with, and I'll bet on my chemistry keeping us from getting killed, because if I fight Mayu, I'll probably get killed anyway. They're going to get killed just the same, but at least they'll make it somewhat compelling before they end up getting dropped on their heads.
All right.
Next match after that, you end up having so also a running thing. This card isn't set in stone yet. At least I don't think it is, because like all the title matches were sent to a vote. Rich, the main event was brought to a vote. At the behest of Starlight Kid, she said, "Look, I have a high speed match. There's a white belt match. There's also a tag team match. How about and also the future match. The future match has no chance of winning, but they're like, let's put it up to a vote." So I don't know if the results are in yet, but I'm just going based off of what's on the Stardom website right now. So, next match, on projected on the card is Starlight Kid versus Azumi for the high speed title.
Can somebody win, please?
Look, if they go to a 30-minute draw, I'll be furious. They just did the shit. nah, someone has to get beat here. And look, Kid needs to beat her. Kid needs to beat Izumi. If she's going to go into Sumo Hall versus KAIRI, I almost called her Kairi Sane. It's just KAIRI now. She needs to win. And she needs to take that belt into Sumo Hall, catch an elbow in her chest, and then move on from there, and she can drop it after that. But nah, she needs to build her momentum up for wrestling, a person that could potentially be the biggest star in the promotion coming back. So, but besides that point, it is since the first Stardom pay-per-view in an arena, like this is their first singles match on or big singles match. So like I mentioned Cedar growth from the last time I saw them in, I think that was October 2020 to now. Like they're gonna rip it up. That's undisputed.
Yeah.
I don't even know the hands, whatever them gang signs were. So next match after that, it is a Sumo Hall Outpost match. It is basically Shiri's Donald Del Mondo versus Julia's Donald Del Mondo. So,
man, NWO versus the Wolfpack.
Yeah, so it is Shiri and Micah and Emeka versus Julia and Mariah and Tekla. That match is gonna be killer. I think the match will be killer. I think this is where you see the seeds of their eventual split happening right here. I see that's where it happens. Like, I don't think someone's gonna lose right here and it's like, fuck it, we're done. But like, this is where someone loses and they get resentful, and then they start plotting course to figure out their own way towards the red belt. Yeah, right. Basically what I'm getting is like, I'm pretty sure Judah's gonna fucking lose, and then she's gonna be jealous that she lost. So, or draw, 20-minute draw.
It feels like a draw.
Man, if they can't beat Tekla, I don't know what to do. Like, they can't beat Tekla.
Don't she got a belt? Tekla got a belt.
So?
Bro, it's gonna be a draw.
I'm with you, Rich. However, they can beat Tekla. They just had Mina beat Tekla.
Look, I'm going with a draw.
You're probably right, Rich. You're probably right, Rich. I'm just pointing out that when people, like, if anyone comes up with an excuse for, like, well, damn, who are they supposed to beat? Beat Tekla. That's who they could beat. So anyway, next match, semi-main event spot projected in theory. Tag team match. The goddess belts of Kaguma and Hazuki versus Mina and Unagi. I think this match is not going to be some main event. I think this match is going to be at best third from the top, but we'll see how that goes. But Hazuki and Kaguma are a killer tag team, and if they hold these belts for a significant amount of time, they will finish on, the best tag team list of 2021 in the Observer Awards next year. They're killing it right now. And, this is another big spot for the Nagster. They put her in a title match again. She'll have more help this time with Mina, but yeah, like they are.
This should be pretty good right here.
It should be a good match, but obviously, I don't think the belts are changing hands. But I think it'll be a very good match.
I'm ready to see the Nasser get strapped up somewhere. So
she was Trios champ last year.
That's right.
But I get what you mean. We'll see. Like I feel like with what they're doing right now with they're keeping Hazuki and Kaguma really strong, especially throughout the beginning of this year. Like I have to look at their win-loss percentage, but like when I write in like the finishes of their matches, like every week, like they ain't losing. They win all the matches. So like they're keeping them strong, and like they're a very strong champion, and I think that's a byproduct of they beat Julie and Shuri, so like they're keeping them super strong, which is smart. Like they're valuing their tag team titles, as opposed to some of these companies that do not. They don't give a flying fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And the main event projected Saya Kamatani, white belt champion, versus Natsupoi. They have good chemistry. They're going to have a killer match. There's no doubt in my mind they are. I wish they had got to it a better way. I hated the high speed belt draw to then build up towards a different fucking title match. But once the bell rings, that's kind of go out the window because they're going to have a killer match. But for that to be a B pay-per-view, it's pretty impressive.
I'm ready to see Saya and Natsupoi in a match. This is a very interesting matchup. Of course, we've seen Natsupoi all last year just kind of come blazing on the scene in a lower level position. The last time she was in a main event was against Starlight, right?
Yeah. On pay-per-view or on a Korakuen Hall level show?
I think it was a Korakuen level show.
Well, the draw they just had was Korakuen Hall main event, yeah.
Okay. I'm talking about the other one.
Oh, last year in August? Last year in August that was the one that they broadcast live on YouTube, but that wasn't Korakuen Hall, but it was
Gotcha.
Was it? It might have been Osaka. It might have been Osaka Indian Arena too. I can't remember, but either way, they broadcast it live, so it was a big deal for them.
Yeah, I think this should be a real good match. As far as her speed and then Saya's tall lankiness, I think they're gonna have great chemistry.
Yeah. One thing also of note with Saya, she's improving. She's improving in every match as a technical wrestler as far as her chain wrestling and mat wrestling. So to add the stuff what she does with her flying already, you can see when she wrestles Azumi in the Grand Prix last year. That you put her in the ring, or even the match she won the title with Tam, where how that started out. You put her in the ring and you tell her, hey, start out with technical wrestling and then build towards stuff you do. Just a simple start slow and then build towards the big stuff you do. She's starting to figure out how to not just do cool stuff, but also have a cool match based around the cool stuff she does. So yeah, it's gonna be a great match. I kind of wish that the way they were teasing the whole don't tell anybody, she has no secret, that she was going to get a match with KAIRI. She'll probably still get it down the line, but it would have been cool if it had been one of her early matches or one of the first matches like Sumo Hall, but it went to Kid, and either one would be fine with me because Kid's awesome. So
yeah, man,
that's Stardom. That's Stardom.
Cool, man. But yeah, I guess I don't think there's much else. But
I mean, we could talk in past about Elimination Chamber if you want to. In passing,
you know what? I got nothing on that. Personally,
I saw that it was a 2-hour 50-minute show, and I was told, and I saw the match times, and I saw it was 70 minutes of match time, and I said I was going to get to it, and I was going to watch it, and then the next day I said I was going to get to it, and I was going to watch it. And then today came and I said I was going to get to it, I was going to watch it. And I never found the time, and I got to be honest, once I get done uploading this show,
the time will be lost.
I don't think I'm going to go back and watch it. What I heard happened to the whole entire roster, in the Brock Lesnar match, because it was a Brock Lesnar match. It wasn't a WWE title elimination chamber match. It was a Brock Lesnar match. It was very uninspiring, and when they say, when Brock comes out here and he cuts these interviews, says stop worrying about your spots that you're trying to do in your match, and every spot worry about getting over. Well, if you beat every fucking contender like that in seconds, no one can get the fuck over. Just a thought. So yeah, I heard that Lita and Becky Lynch was better than it should have been, than it had any right to be. I heard some people that I think are morons be upset that Bianca won the chamber, which means that she beat Rhea and Liv and Alexa. And I gotta say, if you are complaining about Alexa Bliss not getting a shot, then I want you to go back in time to 2017 through 2019 and then watch her put on some of those mediocre fucking wrestling matches in the company's pay-per-views in that era. And then I want you to watch what she's done as a talker in her talking segments and have some of the worst wrestling segments week after week after week. And then from there, I want you to shut the fuck up. Sorry.
Indeed.
She's put on some stinkers for a long time. I'm sorry that you don't get to see her wrestle because you want to have sex with her. Sorry. So, Bianca versus Becky, set for WrestleMania. I expect a really good match. I expect this to be like a match that like carries a lot of intrigue for the people that look at the rest of the card and are kind of like, oh god, Brock versus Roman part 19. No thanks. Or 8, whatever it is. It feels like 19. Honestly, it feels like 100. I want to see that match, and I want to see Bianca beat her. And then I want to see from there how they, rebuild Becky for they have a whole fucking year to get her to Ronda. Because they've made that transparent as hell. That's what their plans are. So how do they dig themselves out of the mess they've made by making, by not pinning Ronda to begin with, by doing that triple threat match, by beating Becky or beating Bianca the way they did, and then by making Becky be a heel when everybody wants to cheer her, regardless of her doing her heel stuff, all for basically like since SummerSlam. So let's see it. Let's see what grand plan y'all got.
They don't have a plan.
That's my point. So yeah, that's kind of where I am on it. Trying to think what else was on the card worth mentioning. They pulled Viking Raiders versus Usos. Just pulled them. Imagine flying over there and they pull you, bro. You know how furious you have to be.
Who knows if they even flew over there?
Oh, false advertising? Good point.
We'll never know.
Yeah, I think that's all I got. I think that's all I got.
Yeah, make sure you guys order the AEW Who We Are album. Check out the videos and all that jazz, and all the artists. Shout out to all the artists on the album. Everybody showing love. Except there's one person that's out there, and at a time where you can be taking advantage, building with other artists, you out here dissing. So, what a choice. So.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, y'all. Be sure to rate us on our app you're using to listen to this with. Go to the Red Circle and drop us off a donation. If you are watching the streams going forward on Twitch, drop the bits. I don't know what the bits necessarily mean, but I'm sure if the bits add up, so drop the bits.
Yeah, drop the bits.
Bits, not the bit, but drop the bits. And then listen to other shows on network. Besides What Is Your Radio, you have Keepin It Strong Style, you have the Ricky Clive Wrestling Show, you have Grown Men Watch This Shit, you have the Grave Consequences Podcast, you have 8-Bit Suplex, you have All Things Elite, you have Great Match Generator, and you have AEW Match Guide. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Peace.
At Kroger, fresh groceries are our thing, so we check your delivery order for freshness at every step from farm to store and pick and pack every veggie in your free pickup order with care, because we treat your food the way we'd want ours to be treated. We're fresh every day, so shop anyway. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Free pickup on orders of $35 or more. Restrictions may apply.
And now you'll find more ways to save on your favorites. When you download digital coupons, you can use up to 5 times in one transaction. Kroger, fresh for everyone.